chat. What's going on? I see a lot of people 17 in there. Let me know if you can hear me. It's good. The levels are good. I see Ross Turner, Sinister, what's up? Mojo Blues, what's up? What's going on? Talk to me, chat. Get some feedback on volume levels. Ross Turner, what's up? Oh, he comes with the intro. Chat, I'm going live. We're not live. Just make sure that you hear me. King, say what's up to the people. You know what I'm saying? We got a special guest. Yes, Livon, we did wash our hands. Make sure y'all can hear us, man. I want to make sure y'all can hear King. King, keep talking for a little bit. How you doing? You know what I'm saying? We got the special guest in the building. We're just waiting on Solve and Addict to pull up. Give us a pixel bit. What's up, man? I see you. Give us some feedback real quick. Okay, slow-mo, what's up? Okay, Lord in the music, that's fine. That's fine. Thanks, man. Can you hear Sin? Can you hear King? Fine. That's all I want to make sure.
Yeah, how y'all doing? You can hear me good?
I turn myself. Mojo, what's going on? Slow-mo said I thought I was late, but I came to realize they tried to load up their 100 megabyte intro. All right, music is a little loud, but yeah, music can go down. Don't worry about it. We gonna fix that. That is normal. All right, cool. But Livon, can y'all hear King? Ain't nobody saying they can hear the King.
Can you hear the King?
No. Can y'all hear King?
Know what the music for you to hear the King. Music is all the time.
Not one person gave me a confirmation.
He said
no. Barely. Okay, well, barely is different. Okay. What about now?
Can you hear me now?
All right, music is muted. Can you hear him now?
Can you hear me now? Am I coming through your speakers? This is Kara Swan.
They don't have their subwoofer hooked up, so they can't hear him. They can only hear.
He said, "Yeah, I can hear you perfect, King." Thank
All
you.
right. Who said it? Somebody said they could hear you?
Yeah.
Because Drew said, oh, now I say, okay, so it's muted. Okay, cool. Because the music was muted. All right, cool. Thank you. That's what I need to know. So now you get the loud music, and then we mute, and we'll be back.
Go back and listen.
Now, normally I would say, and we are live, but I got to make sure King, Saul, Addict, just yell for a second. Make sure the people can hear you.
Can people hear me?
All right. So as
Yes,
long as the
yes,
chat
yes.
give us a go, I see levels, so I'm assuming we good. You know what I'm saying? Chat keep us informed. But yeah, man. He said he can hear. So my man smiled though. And we are live. Welcome to the Iron Lords podcast and the lordsofgaming.net, episode number 151. And it's another glorious Sunday. We're back at the round table on the Lord's Day. I'm extremely excited about our special guest, and we've got Project xCloud, Xbox VR, backward compatibility, and the latest NintendoDirect to discuss, so we gonna get right into it. I want to introduce a Lord whom the IOP is not only proud to call a true friend to the realm, but has consistently been a trailblazer for technical innovation in console gaming. Whether it be his leadership as a U.S. Marine or passion for gaming as a whole, this Lord always sets a positive example as a protector of the Xbox realm. Introducing the former director of project planning for Project xCloud and the original project manager lead responsible for Xbox Backwards Compatibility, the Great Wall himself, Lord of all things Overwatch, and the only Lord to challenge anyone on why NHL 94 is the greatest hockey game of all time. Live from the state of Washington by way of Chi-Town and making his return into the realm of the Lords, my man, Lord Bill Stillwell. How are we doing, sir?
Hey, how you guys doing? I'm gonna have you like write my intros for my annual reviews.
Listen, man, call Cog up, man. I'll get you that promotion, brother.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
How you been, man? Long time in the realm. You're a lord at what you do. You've been very busy going on right now, but what else has been going on as far as game-wise first? I know we'll touch the career stuff, but what's been going on game-wise for you?
Well, eventually I got sucked into Destiny, and
Woo!
actually xCloud is what got me sucked in. I don't know if people remember. I was not gonna play Destiny 2, and when we started doing the initial testing for xCloud, Phil had tweeted out that he was playing Destiny 2 on xCloud.
Yes.
And so I had to make sure it worked, and so I got a copy of the game.
Tested
and I started playing
functionality.
it. Yeah, well, you know, I actually did have to test it, so. I brought it home. I was playing it, and my son started playing it with his buddies. And he's younger, so every now and then he'll ask me to join his clan or join his parties and help him and his friends play. And I got hooked again. Because here's the thing: as much as I was mad at him for the nonsense on the DLC with the first game, like their gunplay is just so good.
Woo!
And,
Hold on, say it again
one of those
for
games,
the people in the back, Bill. Say that line again about the gunplay. Wow.
Nobody does gunplay better than Bungie.
Yes.
I'm on the record as saying it. Like it was unbelievable how quickly I felt like every gun you pick up just feels different, but you can tell how it feels. You can tell what you're playing by the reaction you get in the game without ever having to look at your inventory. It's great.
Valid point. Now I'm assuming Overwatch is still going on in full force.
Yeah, you know, I was gonna stream a whole bunch of different games this week just to help out with quarantine. So I got a mixer like during lunch and play. I was gonna play. My plan was play something different every day, and I played Overwatch. I think 4 out of the 5 days.
No doubt, man. Absolute pleasure, man. That is awesome. I love the Overwatch style. Because of you actually, because I have my issues with Overwatch, but because of you, I can't front. Like, I actually started touching. I'm like, I get it. You know what I'm saying? I put more of a Genji main because of the ninja thing. You know what I'm saying? And
yes, I understand.
The super blocking. That was kind of cool. You know what I'm saying? But who do you split between, just character-wise?
Well, I play a lot of mystery heroes just to expand my horizons, but I start with Reinhardt and I finish with Reinhardt, and maybe I'll throw a Lucio in every now and then.
No doubt. That's what's up, man. So we gonna get into it. We got a lot of show, and of course, you already know we got the 4 horsemen of gaming, those original lords of the realm here at the round table. My co-host with the co-most, my brother from another mother, the difficult game conqueror, Lord of reviews, and the how of the young wolf. My man, Lord Addict, how are we doing, Sleepy?
Doing pretty good. And
nah, don't give me that energy now. You was asleep. You was asleep. I got you, brother.
What did you take? I need some.
Look, man, I had the Pop-Tart, and I'm drinking the energy drink right now. All
There
right.
you go. Double sugar.
Do it to you.
You got the Red Bull? What you got? What you got on deck?
Nah, I just have like one of those little Mountain Dew energy drink
Oh,
things.
Lord.
I don't know.
Jesus.
There we go.
So
Double sugar. Let's go.
Rough
But,
night in the quarantine office? What's going on,
Nah,
man?
I
What you
ended
playing?
up playing Bleeding Edge till like 6 in the morning.
Jesus, I knew you was gaming.
Yeah.
No doubt. So just been Bleeding Edge going on?
Yeah.
No doubt, no doubt. All right, all right. And of course, we have the most technical gaming lord, the solo gamer who lives for the single player selfish experience, and also the Sostradamus, Mr. Offline Profile Illuminati, and Lord Patriarch of the Iron Bank, my man, Lord Sovereign. How we doing?
I'm doing all right, man.
Uh-oh, long sigh. What's up?
Yeah, I'm doing good. I'm doing all right. I'm glad to be here.
No doubt, no
Good
doubt.
afternoon, everyone. Doing good.
Afternoon.
Listen, trying times, and when you have trying times, you always want to go back to when life was simpler.
Yeah.
That's what I did.
What you do? What you take it back to?
Of course, you know what I took it back to, baby.
Let's go. Let's talk about it.
Greatest underdog system of all time.
Wait.
Sega Saturn.
Oh, you put the Saturn out. Okay.
I didn't pull the Saturn out. That's a bit much.
Okay.
The Dragoon remake is in the building,
bro.
It's back.
We gonna be lit on that NintendoDirect section.
Listen,
Me and
man,
you go party.
Yeah, I tell you,
King of Attic gonna be upset, but we go party.
When it comes to Panzer Dragoon, the Sega Saturn, you could say they've made a lot of mistakes with that system. But I'm gonna tell you right now, what that system was brought to the table in terms of fighting games and 2D games at the time, like the PlayStation couldn't touch, like not even close. And I absolutely adored that system. I've always been the type of person that I don't ever go for the obvious, the obvious number one. Like I just don't. It's no fun that way. Like we grew up Sega kids. You know what that is.
You know what it is.
It's the Nintendo Colossus. So
yeah, Bill shaking his head. He know about that life.
So playing Panzer Dragoon, man, I tell you, it's the core of that game still holds up very well. It's a very simplistic on-rail shooter, but the world is very beautiful. The action, the things they did to modernize it, I think kind of sort of iffy. I still prefer to play it like with the old control scheme.
Yeah.
But I will say that I'm glad that it's back. I'm glad other people get to kind of see where this gone franchise at this time is hopefully coming back in a cool way. If you haven't played the pinnacle of that franchise, which is which is Saga, right? The RPG. It's very difficult to get. It's absolutely, but Order is the pinnacle of that franchise in terms of the actual just the shooter part. Saga's an RPG.
Yeah.
It's back compat on Xbox. Please, thank you, Bill. Thank you.
Bill made me fire that up the other day.
Woo!
No doubt.
That game is tough and it's fantastic, but Panzer's back, baby. Panzer's back.
That's what's up, man. Shout out to Smitty Smith already early in the chat. $2 super chat. Forgive me, Iron Lords, for I have gamed the Book of X. He's starting his Book of X. He got the holy word out early. He got the scripture out early.
Listen, Smitty Smith, I'm gonna need you to patent that and make sure that you get that out. The Book of X. That's what's up, man.
We gotta give him a he's on to something with that. We gotta do that.
You on to something.
You on to something. No. So that's been it, Sav? That's pretty much it?
Yeah, man, that's it. I didn't. Man.
Talk to me.
I sat down yesterday and I was like, yo, I got to get back into this Zelda. And 10 minutes in is all it took. I was like, oh, no. Yeah. Oh, it got me again.
Got you again.
Got me again.
No doubt. And of course, we have the Incredible Hulk of this, a.k.a. the Access Gamer.
Ooh.
The Lord of Combat Sports. King of the statues, who demands nothing less than that premium experience. It is the leader of the Fraud Alert movement.
Ooh.
Beloved Lord King. How are you doing, sir?
You got to see it. Somebody asked me, they was like, is that a jersey? Yes. There's only 3 of them in the world, and you see the 3 people that's wearing it right now.
That's right.
Listen, I know y'all gonna go to the merch store and you're gonna be like, yo, I gotta get that hockey jersey. Sorry.
Exclusive.
That's no hockey jersey for you. Yo, hold on before we get started.
Let's go.
Turn the beat around. Let me see that panther.
Yo, that panther is
fire.
Ridiculous.
Yo, listen, man. I had 2 panthers, right? And I was gonna do a conjunction video. I was telling Cog in the background. I said, I'm gonna do it together and I'm gonna split it. And then I was looking at the box and I had unboxed it. And I said, oh, hell no. I said, you need your own light, baby. Because I saw the gloves, the hands. And it was something about the genius of Stan Lee, the magistry, the man was truly, I know it's easy to bloviate against about somebody once they pass on, right? Once they transcend. But honestly, his legacy, his footprint on this earth, I think his foot overlaps the earth because he's touched everyone, young and old.
Facts.
And to be able to do that and the level of diversity, and it still permeates through the company, his blood still pumps through Marvel. It's so amazing. But check out KOS to understand about that statue. See, it doesn't be about really about the statue. It'd be about my journey into the statue and why I got said character and stuff like that. But okay, so this week,
what you been doing this week?
I've been playing so Sovereign talked about Panzer Dragoon, right? Now I watched the Nintendo Direct. I'm not gonna lie. They on to something.
Something comes back for King. Let's go.
They on to something.
Step into the light, brother. Step into the light. Yes.
I said, I'm going to watch this Direct and not fall asleep. And
you see the backhanded slant this off? You see?
I said I'm not gonna fall asleep. I'm gonna watch it, right? Because it was a stealth little mini Direct drop, right? And what I like about these companies, what they're doing now, well, these two companies, because one company shall not be named. These two companies, one is being ultra transparent, is a change of philosophy, and I love the direction, right? But the other one is staying true to them, right? And they're being in pocket, and their pocket is, check this out, this is for y'all, here you go. And they get straight to the games. And when Panzer Dragoon popped out, I said, oh my God. And then they were showing you what it used to look like. Because in my head, I thought it used to look like the new one.
Always, right? Nostalgia do that to you.
Nostalgia.
Exactly. So then I ran straight to my back compat. Shout out to Bill. Right? So I said, okay, they didn't got that one, but they got that order. All right, let me throw that on. And I was like, and then I thought there, I said, who did that for you? And I was sitting there, I was like, yo, the Power X. I said, this is crazy. Right? So and then I went into my car because I had my clamshell clamp and I was playing xCloud. All right, so now, and this is not hyperbole, but this week what I was playing, because in Xbox, you have free-to-play games for the weekend sometimes, right? So one was Modern Warfare, Call of Duty, the Ghost one, the new one, the dude with the Punisher dude that's in it.
Oh wait, okay. Was he sure? I thought the dude was the Rainbow Six. I mean the Ghost Recon.
Ghost Recon.
Shane from The Walking Dead. I thought
Ghost Recon. Okay. All right, so I'm playing that. I'm thinking I'm going to be playing a one-player game, because I'm gonna knock it out. I'm like, yo, they put it free for weekend. Shout out to Xbox, good looking, right? So I started it up, and I'm sniping people. I'm running behind people, pop, stabbing them. I'm like, oh, this game is nice. It looks good. If you don't got a 4K TV, sucks for you.
Here come the shaving. Let's go.
Listen, not for nothing. When I made a dude that looked like me with the scruffy beard and the face, he just had a scar. I don't got the scar, but I said, you know what? If I was fighting, I would have a scar. So, and then I look, so I'm playing with him, and he making faces. He's looking like me. I said, this is fantastic. This is amazing, right? And then it got to the part when I made it to this little city where I'm supposed to make it to, because you go through this lush jungle area, and it reminds me of Wildlands, right? So, all right. So I'm like, ooh, I'm jumping in cars. I'm doing crazy stuff. I get to this area Tell me why it didn't just turn into the division. All right, pair up with these dudes. I said, oh hell no.
Oh, for real? Like what? Force co-op?
No, I mean, maybe you could do some solo stuff, but I play Destiny too much. She's a fickle lover.
You understand? Destiny's a full-time relationship. Like,
yes. And anytime somebody drops something, she comes with her. Oh, here comes Iron Banner, or here comes something else to stop your fun.
To stop your fun. Facts.
I ended Children of Mortar. I can't say it enough. I know a lot of people went and played the game because of my recommendation.
Yes.
It has become one of my top 5 games of all times that I've ever played in my life. You're talking about a person that has been gaming since Pong. Since I hooked Pong up on channel 3 on my RF switch in my house and fixed the rabbit ears to get it. And I played with the paddle. You're talking to that guy that had probably every system ever made.
Facts.
Okay, I was the one with the Neo Geos. I was the one with the $250 cartridges. I'm telling you, this game from 11-bit studios and Dead Mage, I love the story. I love what it's about. And I think in this day and age, that story needs to be told. It needs to be felt, especially when we're on this quarantine stuff. Listen, if you got Game Pass, you're on this quarantine stuff, play the game. Just boot it up. Give it a chance. Yes. Some people say stuff like, this ain't for me. Those type of games aren't for me. Let me say something, bro. Grow out of yourself. Become a little bit more than what you're. And it starts with little things. Like, try something that you may not normally try. Don't try shrimp if you're allergic to shellfish.
Shout out for King with the food.
That one's gonna end badly.
Yeah, don't do that. No. Don't die. Don't die trying to be greater. But
I'm done with you.
But what I want you to do is try something different. Don't just go in there just for the AAA or the first party jump offs. Try something else that you normally wouldn't do, because I normally would have never purchase this. And I know y'all say, oh, King is always about this Game Pass.
What say that again? Say that again. I gotta give you the Game Pass, what you said.
King is always about this Game Pass. But I'm gonna tell you something. Who did that for you? Who brought that Game Pass to you?
Who did it?
Lord Phil Dominus. Maximus Spencer.
Lord Phil Dominus is up in the chat, y'all.
and I'm gonna tell you, man, is at a point right now where this game would have never got played by me if it wasn't for Game Pass.
Facts.
If it wasn't for this service,
they throwing them up in the chat right now.
it allowed me to experience such greatness. You know what? I'm gonna give an open letter to the studio because I love it so much. Be honest with you,
man. Yo, real quick, gotta get some shout outs. I see Delilah HD in the chat. That's what's going on. Lucas Law, the Insipid Ghost is in there. Philly Eagle. Gotta shout out my boy Rage Virus, and a quick shout out. Monkey Punch, what's up? I gotta say what's up to Sione Doors 1212, man. Last night, I believe midnight, he had hit me up. Him and his wife gave birth to a baby girl. Salute, man. Congratulations. A new one in the realm. Always welcome. I'm glad she went through safe. Everything is sound. That's my Destiny brethren, always in our Discord. So salute to him. Throw up your ILP crest for the new one in the realm. You know what I'm saying?
We got another one from Smitty Smith. Too,
get Smitty for me. Yeah, I missed that one. Thank you.
$2 super chat from Smitty Smith. And I could see the speed and power in that statue.
It's from Wakanda, baby. Forever.
Thank you.
You already know, man. And of course, we have the gaming ninja himself, the Shinobi, LordCognito, spreading that realness in the realm of the ILP. Not telling you what you want to hear, but what you need to hear. So yeah, man, it's been gaming wise for me. It's been that Animal Crossing, King. I've been rocking, man. I've been rocking a little bit of that. Shout out to
Tom Nook is a crook.
Tom Nook is a crook. Shout out to definitely, man. Shout out to Panda and SWAT. So I'm messing around. I don't know anything about the online functionality. So I was like, what's this airport thing about? So I went there. So he's like, yeah, you can go fly to an island or whatever. I know nothing. I get there. Panda's there. She welcomes me at the airport. She takes me into her house. And then SWAT logs in. And then they're doing a housewarming party. She's got like a flute and a guitar. And I'm like, I don't know what I am doing. Like, you got to see my clip on my Twitter right now. And people are dying, man. So shout out to them.
Notice he said he types.
Yes, I had to that. I
Yeah,
did.
you had to type that in.
You know how Grandpa ain't with that
So
party chat.
Who was wearing the face mask? I saw who was wearing the face mask.
Yo, they wearing Corona
man.
mask.
Oh
They
my God.
savage. They wearing the mask. I'm like, y'all savage in here. They do the things that you could create in this game is hilarious. So salute to the so shout out the graphic guard in the building. You already know. But yeah, I've been doing that. Of course, Destiny. There's some trials this weekend. Shout out to Wilhelm Scream. You know what I'm saying? Of course, and of course, Sinister was in there with me, getting our little weapons together and all that good stuff. But yeah, man, with the crew, that's it. So other than that, yeah, tough week initially. You know what I'm saying? My brother, man, it's his anniversary. 1 year since we lost Whiskey. So I just wanted to shout him out, man.
Yeah.
Definitely miss brother. You touched us all. We still miss you. I can't believe it's been a year. And I want to shout out some thoughts to his family. You know what I'm saying? Papa Whiskey, also the friends Ryan, Stephen, and Dylan. You know what I'm saying? Those guys, we've all been keeping in contact and keeping strong with that whole situation. So Lord Whiskey, rest easy, brother. You already know I had one for you. You know what I'm saying? This is your signature, aka what we used to call, aka Lord Fireball King. That was
Lord
the Iron
Fireball.
Chef. You know what I'm
That
saying?
is-
Held us down every E3. So salute to that
Good
brother,
show.
man. Yeah, we definitely, everybody bend the knee, you know what I'm saying? Lord Whiskey, like I said, that's my brother. We miss you, and I just wanted to salute you. But yeah, man, other than that, in a positive note, you know what I'm saying? We got a giveaway. So shout out to Lord Sonaldo. I'll put it in the chat, man. If you haven't seen it already, it is up on the Iron Lord Podcast Twitter. Addicts should be very happy about this because the GOAT has returned. Final Fantasy VII Remake, y'all. So look, if you want to get your hands on it before release, you know what I'm saying? We have that giveaway going on right now. And yeah, check that out, sign up, do what you need to do. But yeah, man, that's all I got. So we're going to get into this, man. So obviously we got into what the Lords are playing. Thank you, Petey. Appreciate the link. That was dope. But I got to focus on Lord Bill Stillwell now. You know what I'm saying? So his tremendous video game system history and his amazing journey was already documented. You know what I'm saying? Way back, though. Way back. ILP 32. You know what I'm saying? So please check that out on ILP. We have an exclusive interview section on the YouTube page. He's one of our very first interviews. You know what I'm saying? But we still got a few gaming history questions for him. We ain't gonna let him off the hook. It's been that long. Cause like King said, we go back since the RF switches from channel 3 to 4. We go back to dot matrix printers and printing stuff on green papers. You know what I'm saying? Like that's how far me and Lord Bill Stillwell go back. So what we gotta ask is some critical questions though. You know what I'm saying? Obviously, in the intro, we talked about that NHL 94 and why it is the GOAT. Shout out to Matt Piscatella. You are wrong for now. With NHL 93. My man is here. I got to support him. No, but NHL 93 was a good game. Salute to Matt. But yeah, man, in those amazing Genesis games. But what I want to ask Lord Bill, what are your other favorite sports games of all time? So let's start with that.
So I actually used to play both on the Commodore 64 and then also on the Apple. The one-on-one Jordan versus Bird.
Oh,
yes.
I loved that game.
Remember that? Yes. Did they have a dunk contest and a 3-point contest as well as the one-on-one? I believe they had both.
Over time, I think it started off with Dr. J versus Bird.
Yes.
Or Magic, and then Magic, it just kept evolving.
Yes.
Every year they just throw another one-on-one.
Yes.
And you got to the point where you could break the blackboard and the janitor would come out and sweep up the glass. And, so those, and then the other one we played many a night in college, probably with shot glasses to the side, of the Epic Summer and Winter Games.
Really? I don't remember those. Put me on. I don't remember these ones.
They're basically Olympic events, right? And they weren't great, but you would be like, you do like the diving, and you'd hold certain keys down to do different types of flips, and then you'd have to time it right so you get a clean splash, and then you'd get gold medals or silver medals depending on how you did. We used to play those a ton, especially the Winter Games.
Yes. That's what's up. Yo, chat is saying some classics. They said double dribble. They say there's some classic sports games going on. Shout out to Tip Diamond with the $2 super chat. Salute ILP. Corona got us on lockdown.
You said carnivorous got us
on
lockdown worldwide. Yo, yeah, that carnivorous is out here, man. And anytime you do reference anything, make sure you put the carnivorous in there. Don't put that other stuff that shall not be named.
Yeah.
Carnivorous is out here.
Oh, shout out to Lord Sting. He says, do not blaspheme Epic's Summer and Windows games. Remember that one, Bill? Epic Summer and... Okay.
Those were great.
Yeah, we got some OGs in here. That's my man right there. Shout out to Lord Sting, original NLG podcast, man. Good guys. Love that. So, okay, so we got that. So, give me some more. Give me like two more. Classic.
There was I can't remember the name of it, but there was like a monster football on Sega.
Yes.
Oh yeah, you're talking about
Backyard Mutant or something.
Mutant League Football.
Yes.
Football.
Yes.
Yes.
Classic.
That was very good. Like in terms of like mechanics, it was great. Like it was like it had like real football, obviously like capitations and things like that. But
Shout out to Mr. Ha.
Yes.
I think Mr. Ha, me and Mr. Ha is the only people that had that Mutant League Football. And me and him was playing that game. Rough.
I'm assuming who was the developer? Was it EA? Who was it at the time?
Yeah, it was EA.
So that's cardboard box. That's the cardboard joint.
that's back in the day. Bill, they had a hockey one too. Did you play that as well?
Yeah, they did that Mutant League Hockey as well.
That's what's up, man. Shout out to the chat. Shout out to Jameson. Joe Jameson bringing up that Blades of Steel. Did you ever? I know you was Genesis at the time, but do you remember that one, Blades of Steel?
I remember Blades of Steel. Oh yeah,
no doubt.
In fact, I've been playing every now and then. I'll pop in the Super Blood Hockey. It's sort of a throwback on the Xbox now, and you can play it on PC as well.
Yes.
It's not quite as deep as NHL, but it's still a lot of fun.
Yeah, what was the N64? I think it was exclusive. That was kind of like it was like NBA Jam for hockey. I forgot what it's called.
There was the 3-on-3.
I think that's what it is.
We had it on Xbox 360 as well.
Oh, okay.
Okay. It didn't come to the back compat program.
For reasons.
No doubt. Shout out to Squirrely Dan, the $5 Canadian. Hit the rocks on the dive event on summer games all the time. Yo, there's some class. People saying RBI baseball.
Mine is baseball stars.
NHL Blitz. Wow, there's some classics.
Yeah.
Bases Loaded, Lord Tipsy. I remember that one. Yes, I remember
I love
that.
Bases Loaded. That was a good one.
Yo, Big J, Mr. Haas said thanks for the shout out, King. He's in the chat. You know what I'm saying?
That's Big J's my dude.
You already know. So now we moving on from the sports. Like now we already confirmed that Road Rash with Soundgarden is the GOAT Road Rash of all time. We have for the 3DO, there's nothing even close. We've already concerned that. We already got that determined. But I never talked to you about two other systems, which was the Dreamcast and the TurboGrafx 16. Did you have either of those? And if so, any standouts for you?
I had Dreamcast.
Talk about it.
I didn't actually use it a lot. I usually mostly for fighting games. That was when Virtual Fighter was a big deal too. Yes. So that was sort of the core. I'm awful at fighting games, but I can't stop playing them.
Classic, man. Did you have that Soul Calibur, that arcade?
Of course, because Soul Calibur is actually. I still play Soul Calibur. I was so disappointed in the last one, not because the gameplay wasn't good. But the one thing I've always loved about fighting games, even besides the gameplay itself, have been the cinematics that have come along. Like you'd finish this game, you'd finish every character just to watch their video story.
Preach.
And when I heard Soul Calibur was going to have more of that RPG flow, I was so excited, and it was all this text.
All this text. I'm with you, bro.
I was so upset.
It made me stop playing the game.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah, same.
It's a disconnect. Soft. I agree. It's a disconnect because you care about the character. You make that choice. You care about the character. You got that emotional investment. So you want to know their journey and how it affects the end. You know what I'm saying? And I'm with you.
It's such a Namco staple, and it just
I think that's what made Tekken.
That's what made Tekken
so
good.
Because even the little throwaway characters that you thought like Kuma, he had an ending too.
Yes,
like, what the hell? Yeah, so I feel you.
I feel like
you can't develop these characters in that play style. You just cannot do any kind of story development. Like even in Overwatch, they can do quips and things on certain match levels that tie back to the videos. But if you don't actually have a video cutscene for these characters in a fighting game, there's no development at all. And that disappointed me.
I'm so glad you said that about Overwatch. We'll get to that in a minute. So glad you said that. But no, I feel you, man. Lot there. And again, so Turbo, obviously, because you were a Genesis guy at that time. So Turbo, I'm assuming, was missed at that point.
Yeah, I just missed it.
Yeah, no doubt.
Isn't there one coming?
Yes.
Like a mini version?
Yes.
Paid for. Waiting for it.
I was going to say, I think I actually have it in my shopping cart.
Okay.
I'm looking at it right now.
Okay.
Make sure that's the one I ordered.
Nice. Yes, TG60. It looks like they're doing a really good retro version. Some nice games, nice callbacks. You know what I'm saying? Oh, we got a super chat we missed. So, Sav, you want to get that, or Attic, you want to get that? I think it's Pixel Bit G.
Pixelbit G with the $2 super chat. 4th and Inches on the Commodore 64.
Oh, that
Yes.
was a good game.
Classic, classic. You already know. So then after PlayStation, I remember you said that. I mean, after 3DO, I remember you said you went to PlayStation. Any PlayStation standouts for you, Lord Bill?
Oh, I was all in on Gran Turismo.
Photorealistic. Remember how it used to look?
At the time, I still what's the song by the Cardigans? I can still see that intro video play every time I hear that music. It just automatically you hear it again.
Yes,
and you can see it. Gran Turismo for sure, and I love the Ratchet and Clank series.
Yo, he sounds like me. Yo.
Yeah, that's king. That's king. That's king.
That remake on the PS4 was beautiful.
Pixar.
Yes,
It was
Yeah.
Pixar.
Pixar level. Mm-hmm.
I mean, for all the talk about Pixar quality games, I think the Ratchet and Clank series came the closest to that.
Yeah.
And and as much as it seemed like a kid's game when you looked at it, the different weapons were so complex, and the stuff you could do in that game, it was awesome.
Yeah,
Yeah.
man. Classic, man. PlayStation has some classics, man. There's no doubt about it. Ratchet and Clank was definitely up there. That's
We
what's up.
actually missed one from
Go ahead,
Squirrely
Saul.
Dan. We got a $5 super chat from Squirrely Dan. Hit the rocks on that dive event on Summer Games all the time. Yeah.
Oh yeah, we got him. We got him. That's what's up. You already know. So
And actually, we have Forte as well. With
oh,
$2
Forte.
Top of the
Top of the
afternoon,
afternoon, Lords. Have a great show. Gaming Forte.
That's
Thank
my
you so
brother,
much.
man. I heard you guys almost went to the Lighthouse last night on PC. Shout out to Game Forte, my Destiny brethren. You already know.
I would sadly never get to the Lighthouse. I mean, you know what it is? You know, I do have somebody right now that, you know, she is a Destiny beast.
Sound like
So
you need
I
recruit.
I can. I'm trying. All I need is just one more person because, you know, I'm waiting for the Series X to come out for Sinister to see the light and bring itself back.
Oh no, we
over
all our
the
PC guys, they're
console.
coming right over to the X when it comes. We want that 60 frames plus that field of vision. Oh man, it's gonna be beautiful.
Yes.
I can't wait for my console brother to get the Tower of Power so they can understand what we've been dealing with. But yeah, man. Last gaming question I want to ask. Obviously, you are known for your Overwatch love. You know what I mean? So, Lord Bill, like, tell us about that. Like, and you know, how did that start? And then, how excited are you for Overwatch 2? That's what I want to know.
I think for me, the game. So when that game first came out, I played a little bit, and I thought it was good, and it was nice. One of the things I love about it is how committed Blizzard is to continuing to balance it, so that they're constantly tinkering, and they're always looking for. You know, you play those first games, and I can remember you play a game and like there'd be 6 Torbs on the other side, and you'd be trying to get and just guns everywhere, and you couldn't do anything. And over time, they continue to refine the gameplay. They continue to refine the character sets, and even in some cases, change the way the characters play. They're not afraid to take something you're used to and just doing it over and making it better. I will say this: it goes back to the story element to it. The shorts that Blizzard did, that they put out on YouTube, like I could watch those forever. They are like legitimately good movies.
Yes.
The Reinhardt story, the Bastion story. I am awful at both Genji and Hanzo. Can't play them, but that Two Dragons video short that they did on those two, where it was amazing, and that builds these stories. Then you go play these games, and you know, Reaper's talking to Widow as you know those two characters load in, waiting on King's Row. You hear them have their backstory, and I think to me the way that they built that world up, that's the one thing Blizzard does, I believe, better than most, is they just create the entire universe around their gameplay and around their stories that just sucks you in, and you want to continue to know more about it. And the other thing about that game that I love is it's still popular enough that you can jump in, you can immediately get into a match, you can play with a group of people, even if you solo, don't use a mic. There's always people out there willing to jump in and play. And
Don't
the
you dare
gameplay.
encourage people to solo and not use their mic.
No, yeah, that's what looking for groups is for. But you can, and it adapts to so many different styles, right? If you are good at first-person shooters, you can pick a soldier, you can pick a Reaper. If you're not as good with that kind of stuff, you can pick Torb, you can pick Symmetra or others, and they can support any gameplay style.
If you're not as good with that, you know, it's okay. The the Overwatch community be very supportive in your decisions.
Yes. They will. It's the most supportive community. No one ever lets you know that you picked the wrong character.
It's like on the road though, it's pretty bad over there sometimes, man. Like,
well, I will say this: there's two ways. Depends on the mood I'm in. If I'm playing comp, I'm gonna be very specific about how we're gonna play this game together.
like, we need two tanks. We don't need an Anna. Get out of there. We don't need an Anna in the back.
Right? I'm gonna be very specific about how we. I'm not. I'm gonna be anal and curse you out, right?
See, but the thing is the reason people are like that because you get really penalized if you lose in comp. Like,
yeah, you do.
It is just like. It's just like you ain't doing nothing with that character. What are you doing?
Look, I gotta get to it too,
we got
man.
4 tanks. We don't need 4 tanks.
Well, a little bit. You said something I don't want to skip. Is that, and first of all, the game is great. I've been a hater only for the game of the year talk thing.
Game of the year, great.
Don't get me started, Sav. Don't get me started. This is a positive section. I'm trying to give it up. I'm trying to give praise. Now, here's the thing. The game is amazing. The only issue I had is I felt like they had these amazing characters, right? And I'm just like, man, I would like to know about them. And it's like what you said, Lord Bill, how there's these amazing shorts that you're saying that like outside the game. And it's like, I just wish that was in. So now that I heard the announcement for 2 and I saw that cinematic and I saw them all together, and I'm like, okay, this is what I kind of want to see. And I'm just hoping that, they continue that and have that stuff in game. Because I really do feel they have great characters and the game is pretty amazing. What do you feel about that?
Yeah, I think it'll be interesting to see how well they bridge that sort of PvP to PvE structure.
Yes.
They're doing a little bit of it. They're running their archive event right now, which is one of their annual events, and they have these co-op modes that you can play, where you just it's a sort of horde mode, right? You're just facing waves of enemies, and they're a lot of fun. They're just different than the core gameplay. Right. I watched that trailer. I watched the initial look for what PvE is going to look like for them, and I'm excited. But I'm also nervous because then they start talking about combo moves and like they've already had some issues with balance on certain characters, and the ability in PvP to do things like roll lock. You only have 2 tanks, you only have 2 healers, you can only have 2 DPS. To do hero pools lets them tune that. Right. At the same time, I only want to play as Reinhardt. I only want to play so if there's a combination, like it's frustrating me in comp right now with the meta being Orisa, because I don't mind Orisa's kit, right? But that's not the style I want to play.
Right.
I like Orisa.
Attic disagrees. He likes Orisa.
I like her. She's a good character to play. It's just it's not the same kind of gameplay that I like.
Gotcha.
Come on, there's nothing better than being Reinhardt and having Anna overcharge you, and you just start swinging that hammer.
Woo! Look, all I know is a good Reinhardt can lead you to victory, but a bad Reinhardt will make you rage quit.
Oh yes, absolutely.
It's like they do charge, and it's like there was nothing there.
Don't you know charge is just how you move around.
See, he's teaching you right now. He's teaching me because I have no idea. The only thing I know about that game.
Would you charge behind enemy lines where there's like a Reaper? And, nah, man, you don't do that.
No.
Is that the game where Doomfist is in?
Yes.
Okay, so the only reason why I was semi-interested in that game because Terry Crews was supposed to be Doom. Well,
yeah,
that's what they thought, right? And then Terry Crews came out in Crackdown. I was like, oh, controversy. So I was like, what's gonna happen? But he didn't get that part, and he really wanted that part or whatever. So that made me put on Overwatch. And as you just said, I learned how garbage I was.
Yeah, I learned quick. It's a team game. I was trying to do too much solo stuff.
Solo guy.
Yeah, it wasn't working
for me. No,
but I do like it. I got to get into it. But yeah, man. So got the games out the way, a little recap, you know what I'm saying? Again, for those who have missed, again, ILP32, man, this is Lord Bill's debut. Please check that out. He's got tremendous gaming history, so much to learn from where he's come from. It's really cool. But we got to talk career a bit, man. We got to talk career a little bit, Lord Bill. So, since you were last here, you were the Lord of Back Compat. Then you transitioned to project planning for Project xCloud, and now potentially a new role. So I need you to set the record straight on ILP. You know what I'm saying? Are we leaving Xbox, and where's the Great Wall going? What does this new role entail? What's going on?
Yes, so I am leaving Xbox. That was the hardest part of this decision for the last. So let me back up a bit. While I was working on Back Compat, my boss at the time, Kevin Gamble, who now runs our developer program for Xbox, he had said to me, "Hey, as we get ready to go," and this was years and years ago, he says, "We're getting ready to look at the new generation. We want to look at additional capabilities. We want to look at additional endpoints. So take a look at the streaming tech that we've worked on in the past and see what you think about it." So as part of, I was sort of employee one on game streaming, right? As part of our planning cycle for next generation, I focused as sort of at the time a part-time job on what it would take to bring games and make them playable using Azure's backend network and playing them on any device. And got prototypes built, got the thing into the program and part of our actual next gen plans, and then sort of summary, just brought that through until we got to the point where we had released an actual beta product out into the market. People are trying it, people are playing it. And at that point I started looking at other opportunities inside and outside of Microsoft. Is just sort of a natural progression. The projects I like to work on are projects that are technically complex, and more importantly, they're ones that people aren't sure about. Like, well, should we invest in this or not? That's why I got into the Back Compat program. I did the console launch prior to that in China.
Yes.
Where it was like, well, if we make a console launch in China work, and laws have changed, let's give it a try. And then now game streaming with Project xCloud.
Absolutely.
But we're at a point where the tech works. Obviously, we'll continue to refine it. We'll continue to make it better, and over time things will improve. Right. But there's not really much I can do from a planning perspective. There's not really much I can do as a lead on that program anymore. So I started looking around and explored a couple different avenues. And in fact, thought I was going to go down two or three other paths that just didn't pan out. And then I had initially talked to another group at Microsoft that runs the HoloLens program. Yes. And so I am a big believer. I know this will catch some feedback potentially.
Let's get it. Let's do it.
Look, VR and AR is going to be part of our future. And it's going to be a big part of our future. And I believe that the tech is right on the cusp of being ready. And sort of like game streaming. You look at game streaming. People have been trying to do game streaming forever. Yes. Well, when you had dial-up modem, that wasn't going to be effective. You could barely do a remote desktop. Facts. But over time, technologies improve, and you'll cross a threshold where a segment of the population will be able to access some technology at scale that's enough to justify the trial of a new business. And then over time, as that business improves, you'll get another push out into a larger demographic, to a larger market. And I think VR and AR, mixed reality experiences, are in that same spot. So I talked with the it's called the Cognition team at Microsoft. Talked with them for a while.
I like that name. What's that name? Cognition? I like that name.
Cognition, and it circled back and they said, look, we think you'd be a great asset for the team. We'd love to have you interview for a role and focus on more consumer level mixed reality services. And so I accepted that role a few weeks ago finally, and I officially start there next week. But with quarantine, everything's been going slow. I have been working with the team now for a little while, and getting spun up, and I'm excited about where this industry is going to go. Nothing concrete, right? Like you're seeing Oculus make moves, you're seeing Valve make moves, and I just think it's the time. So we'll see where it goes.
This is awesome. Real quick, I got Silk Sail with the $2 super chat question. Did Aaron Giles work on the Back Compat team? I don't know if he can answer. Aaron Giles. Yeah, he's asking that.
I don't know that I'm allowed to speak about people's.
So we won't get you in trouble. We won't get you in trouble.
I'll defer on that one.
Yeah, don't worry about that. Don't worry about that. We got you. We got you covered. We're protecting the wall. We got to protect the wall. Shout out to Stylo 2 on Super Chat. Harry Cruz is the man. Big time gamer as well. So look, let's get right back into HoloLens, which is the new role, right? Everything that you're doing now. And I gotta be honest, like after its initial debut, I remember seeing it. Shout out to Kudo and those guys. Those are ones I see it. And, augmented reality seemed very, very cool. You know what I'm saying? I gotta admit, I remember them doing the Xbox stage demo. I believe it was Minecraft, and they had some really cool scenes with a Halo, kind of like a holo deck kind of thing behind closed doors, which I didn't get to see. Shout out to Kanye for taking my spot. Kanye West, salute. He took the Kudo. He was supposed to hook me up, but he was like, bro, Kanye came, I said, I understand. that one wasn't for me. That slot wasn't for me. But yeah, man. So look, everyone raved about it. I remember really, really strong reviews, initially impressions. And then it kind of disappeared. And then it kind of went away from the gamer/consumer space. And then almost like a commercial only kind of thing. And like to what King says, like that price, we saw that price. And I was like,
I was going to tell you, like, because my biggest question to Bill is, all right, I understand technically, you know, the magic's. I've seen what your team can do, and you in a team format, what can happen in your hands, and the fact that you said you like challenging projects that you're not sure of. I love the fact that you said that, because with that back compat, nobody was sure of that, and you brought that to reality.
You know what?
About it.
Sorry, when Lord Bill was talking about, you know, I like something that's difficult, something that's complex. I was thinking to myself, so like, he's the tech version of House.
yeah, you know,
he takes the challenges on.
He's making stuff that seems impossible possible.
Facts.
And the fact that you're challenging yourself and you're looking for greater challenges, because like you said, the tech works. When I sat with you and we looked at the tech, and you blew me away. Trust me, blew me absolutely away. And I saw the tech, and people didn't. They had to see the video. When I posted,
they still didn't
like
believe
50,
us. Remember? Yeah, they still didn't.
It was 50. Oh, you're in a closed environment.
It's a closed environment. It's not. Yep. No, bro. 400 miles away.
Shut up.
Go ahead. Talk that talk. Talk that talk.
This is definitely what he does, right? So when because we talked about it in the background, when you was transition or going to someplace else, I'm like, oh man. So to hear you say that you're going to HoloLens, I said, please, thank God, please, could he use his majesty to get that price down? I said, I know the technical aspect. Please use your wondery on that price.
Well, so thank you. First off, I do want to add, like, obviously I'm more open and more public. There's brilliant people that I work with that are the ones that really make this a reality, right? Absolutely. It's no one individual. It's no one person. I've gotten the opportunity to work with just some brilliant teams. And one of the things that kept me at Microsoft was legitimately, I sit down to people who I'm sure are geniuses, and I can just get smarter working with them. So you don't often get to roll with that company on a daily basis, and so I don't want people to overstate my contribution. I get to work with a huge team of great people.
Awesome.
The other thing is too, by the way, can I just stop for a second?
What's up?
After we did E3, and we announced xCloud, and people played it, and I got all these people telling me, well, it was a closed environment. Okay, hold on. If you've ever worked networking at a convention center,
that's the
it's the worst.
It's the worst possible scenario. Yes, I'm glad you said that.
We were having times where like camera crews would walk in with their APs and they just blow the entire stage network out during rehearsals. And I'm like, what is going on? And you're trying to track them down, and like and we have one pipe that everybody's running, whether they're running their Gears demo or they're running some other game traffic. Like everything's going through one funnel point. And the number of people who were thinking this was the best possible way to test this experience.
It was controlled, Bill. You didn't have any variables.
That's right. No variables except like the millions of people walking around with their personal wireless access points, shutting everybody else's network down. Unbelievable.
Facts. So glad you said that, man.
I just and people who thought we staged the whole thing.
Yes.
Those are the ones that just kind of blew my mind.
Yeah, it was, like I said, the launch initially, again, people are going to be skeptical. I'm glad you said what you said as far as taking on projects that most people think are impossible or challenging. And that's your history, you know what I'm saying? We'll get into the back compat again a little later. And obviously, you know what I'm saying, Project xCloud, that was the thing. When we came back from E3, people kept asking us, like, how was it? You sure? Was it 1-to-1? And let me tell you something. When I got Addict on my side, he's one of the best people to take when it comes to showing a developer off, showing a game off. He is so blunt, like he is unapologetically blunt. So if your tech don't work,
every time I review something, I always put it's like, are you sure you want me to review?
So if you remember, Bill, you gave it to me, and I'm like, hold on, Addict touch this, right?
Yep.
Because he's gonna try to break it. He's gonna see if there's any full gaziness going on. And I'm like, is it 1-to-1? Is it does it feel? How does it feel? And he's like, God, no, this is this. When he's quiet and the head's down and he's just in like difficult conqueror mode, I'm like, yeah, it's talk about it, Addy. Talk about it. When you got that xCloud for the first time.
It definitely, like, what I liked about it is like you didn't feel like you just felt like you was maybe like streaming to a tablet or something on your actual Xbox. Like you wasn't actually like just wirelessly streaming. It felt nice. It did. Like, I'm still not a big fan of like, the whole the whole wireless thing. But out of all the stuff that I have tried, because I tried Stadia once, we won't go into that. But,
slander.
it was definitely the one that I would be more open to doing.
That is big for him. You know what I'm saying? I know how he is in reference to that kind of tech. He really doesn't really cater towards that. But for him to get the added seal of approval, like, no, this is doable. I can play this. The latency is manageable. And you guys have since improved way since then. I mean, that was an early version.
Why don't you tell him? Why don't you tell Bill exactly how his team? Well, the group of people, because we don't, like you said, anytime I say like Phil Dominant Spencer, I always try to give it a caveat. Like it's a whole big team behind that stuff right there. You happen to be the face that we are familiar with, right? When it comes to that stuff right there. So our reference point is the Great Wall.
Yes.
So Great Wall represents the team,
right?
In my opinion, right? So, but let me tell you what your team did and yourself. You cost me $1,400.
Oh, you mean this little device right here?
Yes.
Say that thought. No, I got a topic for that too. Go ahead. Good.
So when I was talking with Cog, right? So I said, Cog, we can't go regular. We got to go big screen. I said, because we playing xCloud. And he said, yo, you know something? This is true. So in the back of this joint, I have a little kickstand on my joint, right? So yeah. So what I do is I place it like that, right? And I'll be playing.
Salute.
Yeah, shout out to you for making my wallet a little bit thinner.
We're gonna talk about that in much more detail.
But the biggest thing I want to point out, I'm a huge multiplayer person. So like I feel like if I got it, I would play like a lot more like XCOM and stuff like that, because that stuff I guess what it is like I'm a very competitive person.
Right. I get you.
And I ain't trying to give anyone no advantage at all.
I feel it.
So to me, I've never played xCloud on any kind of multiplayer game. But in the back of my head is like I'm gonna be lagging,
bro.
I'm gonna throw my phone. My phone's too expensive
bro.
to be throwing.
Nah, bro, you gotta touch that Halo 5 multi.
Touch it.
I'm telling you, I was doing that whole thing. I feel you until you experience, because I know mentally. I know what you're saying. No,
all I know is sometimes when I lose, I got that controller in my hand, and I'm like, this would look way better against the wall. But like, I can't have that thought process to my $700 phone.
Shout out to Bill and them saving phones.
Shout out to Bill and them. Shout out to Squirrely Dan, $2 Canadian super chat. Xbox has a sleeper cell in the VR space, no doubt, man. We're gonna touch it. Oh man, shout out to Kid Smooth. I beat Tekken 7 on Galaxy Tab using xCloud. Shout out to Forte. He said he
played Tekken 7.
Yeah, it's in xCloud, bro. Yeah, absolutely. Shout out to Forte. He's right. I feel smarter listening to Bill talk. No doubt, the chat is. Look, let's jump right into the transition with the whole thing. Obviously with HoloLens, but with the augmented reality, but then the VR aspect, and specifically Xbox VR, because it's a very spicy topic right now. Obviously when the initial information came out about the Series X, Phil had to kind of address it, because a lot of people were a little upset with some of his initial statements, which were kind of like, right now he didn't feel that there was a huge demand for it necessarily for the Series X initially. But then since then, he's kind of clarified his statements, and he just said, that look, he's just trying to focus right now on gaming initially, right, for the Series X. So I want to actually then transition to what, obviously, with your new role, right? And you made some interesting statements there, Lord Bill. You said, you believe that mixed reality is the cusp of breaking through to the masses. You said you don't want to miss out on a chance to help drive this forward. You said Microsoft has the tools and the tech, and now is the time to put the effort, focusing and growing this space. So that's a lot. And then obviously, just recently saw an announcement with HP and Microsoft and Valve on a headset, and that got people going up like what's going on. So there's a lot to unpack. So what I want to ask you here, Lord Bill, is that obviously there's a section of Xbox fans that are clamoring, right, for Xbox to go in the VR space. You know what I'm saying? So is it time? Because one key thing you mentioned, you said consumer space, right? Mm-hmm. So is it time that, can they finally start getting a little bit excited based on these things that, Xbox may be pivoting in that direction?
I wouldn't make a statement about where Xbox is going to pivot.
Right.
Okay. I think that the way to look about this is that we already have a business in headsets. Yes. We've had partners, I mentioned HP, we've had other partners who produce Windows mixed reality headsets.
Yes.
That compete with the HTC Vives, they compete with Oculus, they compete with now the Index. And I say compete meaning that they're alternatives from a hardware device perspective. And you can go in the Steam store and you can buy games. Right. I don't feel, just as I step back and as a consumer myself, I don't feel like they've really met the capabilities. And that's really what I was trying to get at is, we have our own store. We have a rich history in PC gaming. And you're seeing the company as a whole focus more on PC gaming with Game Pass for PC. It's it's part of just an overall effort, and to touch back on, even to go back to the streaming thing, right? Yeah, some people aren't ever going to want to get away from their 4K or their 8K TV, but there are other people who are never going to buy a console. Yes. And now xCloud gives them an entry point into a different type of game. You're right. Like, I will say this, the very first demo I did where I was sure that I was on the right project for streaming was I went down to the lobby and they got Overwatch working for me. And I sat in the lobby, and would I play a competitive game? Absolutely not. Like it was not ready for that. The audio was out of sync and it wasn't quite where it wanted to be. But then I played like 4 quick play matches in a row. And I realized all of a sudden that this is where consumers will not necessarily change who they are, but they'll adapt to new things. When video first came out, you look at all the data for when short form video came out in like the 3G network era. Yes. Everybody's like, well, they'll just watch small videos. No one will ever watch a movie on a phone. No one will ever watch TV series on their phones.
Good point.
And now you're at a point where Netflix is producing Tiger King just for people who stream content. And you don't think twice about the fact that streaming my video to watch this, if you've not watched it, insane show exists entirely because consumer behaviors changed over the last 10 years. I think that xCloud is a stepping stone towards, we're trying to democratize and make gaming available and give consumers the choice to play it on the device that they want to play it on, where they want to play it. And you may have I'm putting my headphones on with Dolby Atmos, with my 8K variable refresh rate screen, and go do whatever I want to do on multiplayer with my wired controller because I don't need any latency. Versus I'm out and about and I want to just play a little bit of gaming. And so now you take that and you say, okay, so what does that mean? That same philosophy, and I can't speak for how the team strategy is being the group, but my philosophy here is the same kind of thing's going to happen with VR and AR experiences. For like the device prices will come down. Yes, HoloLens has some capabilities. It's become a phenomenal success in the enterprise and commercial space. And that's really what sets the price, because the precision needed for that is different than what a Windows headset or an HTC headset or an Oculus headset needs. I get a ton of miles out of the Quest. And just because I can untether it, and we were talking, I think, before we started, we're in quarantine. I got to do something to stay in shape. I'll be 500 pounds when this is over. And so what do? Facts. I put arm weights on. I play some Beat Saber. I play Thrill of the Fight and work as feedback for a half hour. Like just something to immerse myself in a new world, even though I'm confined to 4 walls.
Facts.
Then you take that element and you overlay what you can do in the augmented reality space, where you can start to see you know, things like Minecraft Earth or Pokemon Go, where you're out in the world, and I just want to put overlays in front of you. They can be informative, they can be directions.
See, I'm about
like
that. Continue. Yeah, I'm about AR.
yeah, like right, like and we're really close to the Quest. I think started it. You can untether and you can bring your power with you. I think the next wave, and I'm not making any kind of statements about direction or planning, but you know, and we're starting to see with xCloud, you can offload compute, you can offload processing.
That's what I said.
Because you've got to get the devices to a form factor and a price point where nobody thinks about throwing a pair of glasses on their head.
That's what I'm saying. There we go. Continue.
And now you can have experiences that are richer, just so like instead of having to look at my phone when I walk around a new city, I can just throw the maps up in front of me and I can see this is where I have to go.
Facts.
I can see data about stores that are nearby. I can see offers and coupons and everything like that.
You know who has that, right? We went to Playcraft New York, and I was using the Bose headsets, the shades, and they had this augmented reality city tour.
Yeah.
Now when you put on the shades, you're walking around and you're looking, and like you look at the store and it'll pop up like what's their best item or stuff like that, and this is the train station, and this is going this way, and this is going that way. And I said, when tech gets to that point that you're playing, like my thing is xCloud and, you know, Game Pass, if I can play all my Game Pass stuff with someplace else. When it gets to that form factor, like you said, you put on some glasses and you're looking at Tony Stark, you're looking at these Marvel movies, and these guys are trying to make that a reality. And we're talking to that guy with this team that wants to take on these hard projects that he feels that, you know what the greatest person is?
Talk to me.
The person that is not afraid to lose and dares to be great. He just told you that he challenged himself on something that he didn't think that he can win at.
Yeah, facts. And most people that don't believe that. Listen, because I'm the first one, King. Like, y'all know me. I've said on ILP, you know, I many times. And shout out Ebontis. He let me try Beat Saber. I had a good time with it. You know what I'm saying? But at the end of the day, I've been the biggest skeptical of VR. You know, King, you've been the proponent.
Skeptical.
Yes.
Right? Addict, he said he's still skeptical too, right? Solve, how do you feel?
VR.
I never got Solve how you felt on VR.
Like I told you, I picked up the Quest.
Yeah, he got it.
Right, he just got it. That's right, correct.
And what I realized that I was trying to do, for me, picking up the Quest was about Half-Life Alyx, period.
Woo.
But I didn't realize that since
that's the most expensive game ever.
Sure. That is the most I have paid for a singular game ever.
Look, I'm always, you know, go where the games are.
You ain't got no. Yeah, about down to the millions, the millions.
Yeah, that was definitely a whatchamacallit.
Did you have that moment where your heart dropped a little bit when you put that up?
Well, yeah, when it didn't work initially.
Oh,
I was like, oh no. But
you're gonna have that same feeling with that Final Fantasy. But go ahead.
Oh,
sorry.
I am. What's funny is I'm gonna have that same feeling with Final Fantasy, but it's gonna be half of what it costs to play that one.
Not even half, bro. Like, we're talking about like 1/5 of the cost. So so I was able to sideload it because, like I said last week, I don't have a tower PC at the moment. I just have my laptop, but the laptop's pretty powerful, so I figured it was cool. What I realized is the power consumption. You need something that's able to hold more juice. So the Oculus Link, at least at this point, wasn't working.
Right.
So I had to sideload it with virtual desktop and then do it that way. And you just have to make sure you have a very fast in-house Wi-Fi connection because it's coming directly through there. So once I was able to do that, though. I'm gonna tell you right now, Half-Life Alyx, it takes Half-Life for me, especially Half-Life 2, especially with the advent of physics and the gravity gun, it made you feel like you can control so many aspects of that world in a way where, you know how I like to talk about the immersive sim and how it allows you to sort of break the game. Half-Life Alyx sort of allows you to do that. Like it allows you to, now you can literally manipulate everything in the game and to create scenarios that in a normal situation, even in a normal game, you probably wouldn't think of doing. Like whether it's just like physically ducking down or grabbing something and throwing it in a direction. Things like that have already been done in VR. Half-Life Alyx takes the fidelity up to the fidelity and the actual the sensitivity of the control, and takes it up to a level we haven't really seen.
So just out of curiosity, I know there's a lot of experiences on the PlayStation VR, etc. Do you think that this is like that prime thing? It's like, this is why you want a VR,
right? Is it the killer app solve?
Oh yes,
I think it's definitely part of the killer app. I think that the killer app. So hats off to Valve, right?
Yeah.
Steam gives them the freedom to do experimentation and efforts in industries that other people just don't have the risk appetite for. And so I think that Half-Life Alyx will be one of those stepping stones to. I think that there's a couple different things that have happened just very recently. I think the Quest, give Facebook their credit.
Yeah.
Getting an untethered VR headset is fundamentally different than anything else. And yes, I'll still connect it to do the link so that I can use some of the Rift stuff or Steam VR, but
it should be the consumer's decision, not
right.
The
and I still have, and in fact, if I have the choice between getting it on the Quest version or the Rift version or the Steam VR version, I'll get the Quest version every time. Now, if there's a game like Gorn that the Quest can't run, great, I'll just buy it and do the link. That's more for my son. He really
no doubt. I feel it. Yeah, man.
I'm
sorry. Continue, Bill. Then I gotta ask.
I was gonna say. So I think that there's one milestone, right? Like I said, you've got to be able to get it off the cable and not tied to a PC.
Right.
I think Valve is showing you that, given the freedom, game creators can create experiences that will blow your mind when you actually get to experience VR. And this is the part that's the hardest part for any of these kind of projects. xCloud was the exact same way. Nobody believed it was real until they played it. And so you get to a point where you have to go, look, just try it.
Just try it.
One of the things that we did, I took the kids to Disneyland last year, while it was still open, and and they have a third party company in the mall area, which is called The Void, and they do VR experiences where you wear a full backpack with the headsets, and then they have set up just sort of in a warehouse this, like, you actually get to walk around, right? And they had a Star Wars one. So it's me, my daughter, my son, and my wife. And the four of us, you put these headsets on, and then we're infiltrating an Empire structure on a moon to find these plans.
Wow.
And you put the headset on, and we start walking through. We get into an elevator, and it's me and my family, all dressed as stormtroopers. My son's a stormtrooper that's only waist high.
That's hot.
And they actually hand you guns. You walk into a room where the blasters are, and you take them off the wall, and you're holding one in real life. But it's just some sort of prop that you don't know what it looks like, because it looks like a blaster. And I'll never forget, the four of us are in this room, and we have to break into the prison, and so there's this code you have to enter on the screen. And my son and I are working on the code. My wife goes, "Do these work?" And she fires the blaster, and this is right after the droid tells you to be quiet so you don't set off any alarms. And it fires, and it goes bouncing around the room, and then all the alarms go off. And the next thing you know, stormtroopers are running at us, and we're trying to fight back. And it was even to the point where when you walk by the lava, the ground was soft because it was starting to melt, the metal starting to melt, and you could feel heat.
Wow.
And like, our family was blown away by this experience. And that's where you see sort of the potential of where it wants to go.
Absolutely.
What would be successful at it? I hope so. Yes, I've had some successes. I was also on the Windows Mobile team. I was
keeping it real. He said, "Hold on,
I'm batting 1,000 here." Okay.
You ain't batting 1,000.
Balance.
We had some joy. You know what I'm saying? I feel that. Look, I respect that. Real quick, I'm just gonna shout out Mass. I'm not gonna say your full name, 1977, because it's the Lord's Day. $2 super chat. New Lord, sup Lords? New sub from Mr. Boom. What's up? Be safe, Book of X. I gotta throw the crest up for you for that.
That's
throw the
right.
super chat. That was it. Lord Boomstick XL. Did we miss anything else? I think I've seen Mass and that's it. Okay, so we caught up.
One literally just showed up.
Oh yeah, of course. Shout out to Lord Jameson, $5 super chat. Throw the crest up for Lord Jameson. Did any of you try Spheres, the VR experience produced by Darren Aronofsky? I have not. Has anybody tried Spheres?
But I will look that up.
All right.
He sounds like a family member.
Yeah.
Did you do it by Mr. David Johnson?
Shout out to QD Vampire on the Zoom slander. Zoom was hot. I like Zoom. We ain't gonna do that to Zoom. But so last VR question, and then I'll move on. I wanted to say, like, again, I love the stuff that you're saying, and I do agree with you in the sense of, these immersive, transformative experiences, right? Now, again, the skeptic in me got to push back a little bit. You know what I'm saying? So what do you say to those who are like, okay, you've got to buy this expensive peripheral to actually, you know what I'm saying, experience it. And then, as far as the install base, because you have things like Connect, and I know Microsoft did well with Connect with the 360 initially. And then I thought, which was a good idea, was to pack in the Connect in the box so that more of the base, like, I guess my question overall is, like, from a development standpoint, how's that pitch gonna go if not everyone has it? You know what I mean? And I think that, do you feel like that those are some of the challenges you guys face with
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I think that is the fundamental problem. This is why I think Valve, this is why I call them out specifically.
Yeah.
They have the flexibility and the freedom to experiment where if nobody buys a device, there's a ton of risk in building an experience for a niche product that may or may not take off. So, at the same time, in order to mass produce a product that everybody can buy, don't get into King statue budget. Like, you need to get it at a level that everybody can get to, so that there's mass appeal. You have to have experience on that people want, and that's been sort of the video game console experience for a long time. I think that at the same time, Windows shows a model for how you can expand that environment. Right? Everybody runs Windows in part early on in the start of Microsoft's life,
right?
Because everybody ran software, whether it was Excel or WordPerfect, that they had to have a Windows platform for.
Right.
Once they had the Windows platform for that purpose, you could expand it out. I do think Windows mixed reality devices are an example of an avenue we could pursue, where you say, listen, you already have a Windows device, you already have a gaming store, whether it's the Microsoft Store or it's Steam. You can now get customers as you drive the price down, and you improve the quality and the fidelity of the device. I mean, you're talking to a guy who had an Apple Newton, right? Like, some people in tech early on, but most people wait for it to become a commodity. Smartphones are a commodity, but Gear VR didn't really take off yet.
Yeah.
And that's why I say we're at the cusp, but we haven't crossed the threshold yet. And it'll be some time before you get to a price point and you get to a set of devices that anybody can just pick up and play, and the outlay, right? Like, I'm looking at upgrading a PC. The index itself is $1,000. Like, you can't get a more expensive game,
right?
But if you're a Half-Life fan and you have the means to do so, you're incented to do it. That does grow the market, even if it's only incremental.
That's a good point.
And it drives people going, well, I'm not going to get the index, just like you heard, right? But I'll get the Quest and I'll get the link cable. So now $1,000, I'm out $400. And my PC or my laptop can already run the experience, or maybe it can't. But then the next time I get a PC, I mean, you think about graphics card sales in the PC market, right?
Good point.
Technology, you have to take a long-term horizon approach to how these things will evolve, right? You heard us talk with xCloud. It runs on 4G. 5G is coming. 5G will be better. There are still places that are upgrading to 4G, right? Like, not all markets come together at the same time. But you can't wait for the critical mass to be there, or you'll miss that market.
I feel you.
It's a balancing act that you have to strike.
No, it's a good point. Like you said, combination of, like I said, price coming down. So get it.
It turns into if you build it, they will come. And
there is some of that. That's been part of the argument with xCloud.
Right.
There has been the, hey, why would we spend, because it's opportunity cost, right? We have engineers working on this project, and this project. Are they all going to contribute to the overall health of the business?
Right.
In the case of the console market, look, the console market's relatively stagnant, not in a bad way, but every time a new console comes out, there's a percentage of gamers who want to buy a console.
Right.
That percentage is pretty consistent across generations. Now, the total population goes bigger, so it changes. But like, what we're looking at with xCloud is, okay, can we break into a market that isn't going to buy a console long term? Well, we won't start with those customers by any means. What are we going to start with? We're going to start with existing customers who know this product, who love this product, and just want more access to it. But over time, what you hope for is that somebody else goes, oh, I'll play Halo with you, I'll play Destiny with you, but I don't want to pay $500 for a console. I have the phone.
There we go.
Let me borrow your controller, right? Like, you'll get to that point, and now you've brought another gamer in
who would have never bought a console.
Who never will buy a console, right? Exactly. They're like, we shouldn't dictate to people the only way you can experience this type of game or this art form is if you follow this process, right?
Right.
Okay. Go ahead.
my thing is, all right. So in saying that, right now, it's been notorious that Microsoft wasn't able to break into the Asian markets, right? And now what we've seen is that xCloud, because they use their phones, is being used more in these overseas markets that were hard to penetrate
Right.
with for Microsoft, I guess. Right.
You talking about like the SK Telecom deal and stuff like that with
Yes.
ISPs in Korea and things of that nature?
Yes. So in seeing that happen, was that the aha moment for you guys? Was that this is what I'm talking about, to penetrate that market without hardware, but with software? Was that the absolute goal behind the team?
I think that it was absolutely intentional.
Right.
That we find and test different markets in different ways. Like I have a hypothesis that says this market is a strong console market. We will do well in this for that reason in these areas. Or this market is not a strong console market, but it's a strong gaming market. Right. We should experiment on, can we drive utilization up by going in with a different form factor or with a lower barrier to entry for those customers? Because in some cases, it's not just the access to the game, the content itself doesn't play well, right?
Right.
Go ahead.
I think that's the biggest reason you see the Switch doing so well, because it it's more friendly in countries. If you don't like a console, it's considered a handheld. If you don't like a handheld, it's considered a console. So it like works everywhere.
Right.
So.
Yeah, fair enough.
Yeah, and the content is content that people care about. We have 2 Switches, by the way. We have a Switch, and then I bought a Switch Lite because I use my Switch.
Say it to chest. Say it to
Both
chest.
of them are being used for Animal Crossing by my kids. So
I gotta give you the new emoji, Bills. Switch coming in hot.
I'm not buying a 3rd Switch.
Thank you, Bill. Thank you, Bill, for holding off on that. Thank you, Bill.
If you tried to do it now, it cost you $1,000.
That's right.
No doubt, man. So real quick, finish up before we move on with VR. Just like I said, I'm glad you said what you said as far as being trailblazers in the market. You know, still trying to take on that challenge. You know what I'm saying? And you made some great points about the price coming down, those killer apps, and then getting people to come. And I do agree with you with the untethered experience. If there's any way guys can lock that down. Personally, I love AR. I thought that was a really cool way. You know what I mean? So I'm super excited, you know what I'm saying, to see your new role, to see where you go with it. You know what I'm saying? You've always done these type of challenging kind of things, and you may be on to something, man. You may be on to something. So we're going to see. Yeah. But
fingers crossed.
Fingers crossed, man. But we're going to move on to the next part. And kind of, again, the main event, what you were previously known for, right? Again, what you mentioned, which is the Project xCloud, right? Like you said a lot about it. So as of right now, we know you've moved on. But with the team, how are you feeling about the state of xCloud right now, especially now that the Series X has been announced and we're seeing that technical, prowess and how beefy it is, in reference to that. So where do you feel xCloud is right now?
I think xCloud's in a great place. That bled into my decision as to is now the time to make a move. Because I think that the initial hurdle, when you start a project like this, there's 2 sets of hurdles that you have to get through. One, you have to get the company to buy into this is part of their future and this is part of their direction. And in fact, this is one of the things I'm proud of. Not that I'm taking credit for it, but I'm glad to see where it's come. Is that when I was first started in Xbox, right? Like the notion, the console business was pretty rote. It was understood. Every time you came out with a new generation, you'd come back with a new set of games, blah, blah, blah. It was a very, and now you're talking about the Series X is compatible with the last generation, all generations of Xbox games, compatible with previous generations of hardware. And then on top of that, xCloud is a first-class citizen in the division in terms of expansion. Like those 2 things, it really is the division sort of pivoting around this notion of we just want everybody to be able to play games.
Right.
And I love that that's now the philosophy, which was not always the case. I actually, even before the China launch, I don't know if we talked about this ever before. I was at one of the I owned accessibility for the platform. And at the time, I remember, none of these people are still around, so I think it's okay to say this. I remember we talked about having to make the console more accessible.
Yes.
And because it wasn't. And I had a person in the room who was like relatively senior at the time say, Why would we ever do that? Those kinds of people don't play our games. And now to see that attitude turn into, we've got an accessibility controller that the industry recognizes as one of the best ways to expand gaming.
Bro.
Like I love that maturity and that growth in
Yes.
just a few years.
Let
So
me not to cut you, I'm glad you said that. One of my most proudest interviews at E3, and I want to shout out myself and Sam Tolbert, who was with me, was Solomon Romney, and I believe he definitely had a huge point in the design of the Xbox adaptive controller. And at the time, I thought this was genius. I also want to shout out the guys at Coalition Gears 5. They made tremendous accessibility options in the game. And it's so cool to see because, like you said, you know, some people get so caught up in their bubble, like, why does, you know, we need this? But it's not about you. It's a whole subset of people who would never normally get a chance to experience these type of games. And now just making it easy for them and giving them a point of entry and they can use for, like, that is so cool. So I definitely have to salute, you know what I'm saying, those guys. And you guys, you even being on that team, which I didn't know, that's pretty awesome.
Yeah, I'm consistently amazed by this, by some players who feel that the desire to restrict access to content is the way to go. I don't
Are you
understand
talking
that
exclusives?
Here's this thing that I love. I don't want anybody else.
Nobody else can have it. Yes, unfortunately, yeah. I mean, I've always said we always say on the show, the Lords, it's like antiquated thinking almost. You know, it just, I think we're in this transition period, and so people are so used to the old way of things. And it's a shock for some. It's a wake up call that these games are going other places. That, you know, it's opening up to other people. It's so funny you said that, man. It's been a big thing lately in the community.
Yeah, it doesn't make any sense. If I like to eat my ice cream on the patio and you like to eat your ice cream in the room, it doesn't matter where you eat your ice cream. Just eat your ice cream, man.
No doubt, man. Shout out to Bad Bit Games. He said, thank you for that bill. He said his sister-in-law has a physical disability, and that controller is something I'll be picking up for her birthday. So thank you.
Awesome.
Yeah, that's awesome, man. Really do, man. Don't Smitty Smith, that's up. I see you. So yeah, man. So again, so you're excited about that. Now about the series, like the Tower of Power. Like, how excited are you? You know what I'm saying, about that device? About what Microsoft showed?
I am super, like, at its core, just as the next generation console. Like, they hit it out of the park.
Woo!
You know, I got to sit and I can remember sitting a few years ago, watching them as we were designing silicon and how we were going to make it work. To see what it's turned into and the end product. That is just it's an awesome thing to have been a part of. I admit that I'm super excited about my new job, but I'm also having that moment of like, but I won't be there for the launch, right? And people don't realize how many years we've been working on, you know, this next generation system. This isn't something we put together last month. You know, there's years of design and planning and everything, and this was the first time I got to be a part of it from start to finish, right? So I joined the team prior to the Xbox One launch, but I was in the store, so most of my work was around the subscription services, how Gold, how EA Access would work on the new platform. Right after we shipped the One, I moved over to the platform team, and that's when I got to work on the One X and the One S and those kinds of things, mostly from the compatibility standpoint. The technology or the tools and processes we used to test 360 games, we now use in a widespread way to test all games in compatibility for all future platforms, which is great. So that's how we know that first the Xbox One X and now the Series X will play the past generations of games. But the Series X was the first one where, when we had a notion that we wanted to go do another console, what will it look like? What will be the killer features? What will be the things that we want this platform to do to justify people investing in a new platform? And I'm super excited about it.
Yeah, man, that is huge, and I want to touch that as well later on. But yeah, man, I mean, it's so many components of it. You know what I'm saying? And I just love what's going on. Check out the poll question later. We're gonna talk about that too. But another thing that King mentioned, I want to get into before we move on from xCloud and Series X, was that, like King said, man, you know, we were sitting there trying to debate what devices we were getting. We're both due for phone upgrades. You know what I'm saying? And we looked at that price. We was like, oh, man. But, you know, we were so excited about 5G. And you know, one of the decisions, obviously, we're going with the Samsung, the Ultra, what is it, the S20, was because of that, and in combination with that partnership that we seen Microsoft make with Samsung. So, you know, they basically look like they're going to share a vision. They're talking about, you know, Samsung mentioned their 5G portfolio, Microsoft's rich history in gaming. So, you know, and we also talked about the ISP aspect, you know, with SK Telecom, I believe T-Mobile here in the States. Yeah. So there's a lot going on, you know what I'm saying, in reference to that. So, like, how do you feel, how important is 5G for Project xCloud?
I think this is where you look at technology and when do things pivot from a select product to a mass market product. Yes. And I believe that this service will optimize and will work over 4G quite well.
Oh, it does.
At the same time, well, yeah, right. But at the same time, you know, 3G to 4G was largely driven by people wanting to consume video on their devices. Like that was ultimately what it was about bandwidth, it was about throughput. And that was the killer app that got people to say, okay, it's time for me to ditch my flip phone and get to something that can actually do the video that I want to watch. And that helped drive the whole industry. Because the thing you have to consider in the telecom space is that these guys invest billions of dollars in network infrastructure design and planning and new technologies that they then roll out and have to find a reason to get their money back, which in the case of 4G was video. There's not a lot of service. You can't make video better in 5G, right? Because you already have the bandwidth throughput to do. I guess I could get 4K on my screen or 8K on my screen, and my eyes couldn't tell because the pixel density is so high on those devices already, right? They look good at 720p. So all you're really doing is filling a bigger pipe because you can. Right. So what are the services that you're looking at as an industry player when you're rolling out these 5G services? Well, I think the two big ones that everyone's looking at are in-car telematics and the things associated with, you know, self-drive and auto-drive, as well as gaming. Yeah. And I am hopeful that it will be that the first wave of people will get into the service at the 4G level, but then as it goes to 5G and that becomes a ubiquitous kind of thing for new phones, that will accelerate what you can see with the adoption of gaming on the go.
No, I completely agree. And I also wanted to touch as far as the, I love the integration with ISPs. I think that's a great move, you know, to get more of the masses familiar with Project xCloud. And another thing, I'm just gonna call it how I see it, man. I think y'all gave a major death blow to the competition. You know, so I'm gonna talk my talk. I know you're gonna keep it corporate, but I'm gonna talk my talk. When y'all launched xCloud, not only was the tech functional, right, but then you have this immense library of games, the Tekken 7. It was almost like a suite, you know, of these games on the go that you have, you know, and most likely, I know Phil has kind of hinted and alluded that most likely xCloud is going to be packaged with Ultimate or some form. It makes sense, he said, in that, you know, kind of sense. But I think that was a huge blow as far as the Stadia, as far as their lineup. And then I think the next step, and I want to shout out The Verge, Tom Warren, and those guys, they said you guys are pivoting, your former team is pivoting now to PC. And that to me is also awesome because, again, that's another section where they kind of live at, the competition. And I think if you guys can do that in conjunction with, you know, the huge library, also TVs, you talk ISP, now you're talking all these different devices and ways to access xCloud. And I just want to know, like, what do you think about that as far as the future, as far as growing xCloud that way?
Well, I think that, you know, when we've been public about this, I've said it in a couple interviews, like, you know, my aspiration for this program is that it becomes, you can just game on anywhere you have a glass screen in front of you. Right? Like, I'd love to get to that world. Now, there's a ton of hurdles, both technical and legal, that we'll have to overcome. But I think that everybody who's looking at game streaming, whether it's us or NVIDIA or Google, all acknowledge that if you're just switching form factors to a single device type, you're not really drawing it out broadly. Yes. So you start with where you have areas of capability, where you have areas of expertise, and where you can expand beyond what you already have. Like, we have a great solution already for you if you want to game on your TV. It's called the console, right?
Yeah,
like, and I don't mean that to be flip. I mean, there's no sense in us focusing on, say, smart TV clients first.
Yes.
Right. When you already have that experience for that kind of customer.
Yes.
But we don't have a mobile device that you can play games on of our catalog of games, right? Google's coming from a different place, right? They have Chrome, they have it installed on everybody's PC, and they can use that as a way to lever up. I think the entire set of us, though, ultimately share that same goal, that same objective, which is if I got a screen in front of me, I should be able to play a game on it.
Facts. I agree.
Well, my question is this, right? Because from the outside looking in, it seems like Microsoft felt they didn't want to be first. They wanted to get it right. And it seems that it wasn't a rush to market because it's still in beta. Right. And I think that marketing of it, saying, listen, we're still in beta, we're working out the kinks, and we're trying to make sure that Android get it. We're trying to make sure that Apple gets it. We're trying to make sure that PC gets it. And when we get it right, and we're comfortable where we are with it, then we will get it out of beta form and release it to the public, and also finding out how they're going to price it or where they're going to place it. And does that ease a lot of tension where it's not a hard deadline, like you have to meet this to get to this because we got to release here? Because I think Stadia's jump to release as saying a finished product, where some of the masses got it and didn't feel that it was a finished product, and they felt that xCloud was in a better finished state, but they still claim beta. Did that ease a lot of like tensions around the work office, where that was like it seemed on the outside looking in, like it was like less pressure, not per se, like I'm saying, like not a hard deadline to meet, like like a crunch?
Yeah, I think that, well, one, this team, the start of this team was out of the back compat team, and the core of us that moved over to go run this and launch this product, and we all had the attitude of, with the back compat program, that the games will come out when they were ready, not when they were due. That does actually create its own set of pressures. It's May the Force coming up. Are the Star Wars games ready yet? No, we haven't had a chance to get those in. Like, we'll get to work on them, right? There are certainly always pressure,
right?
But one of the things I've appreciated with Phil at the helm is that generally the focus has been release a quality product when it's ready. And yes, there are always pressures, and I would not say that Stadia launching as a full product and charging it takes the pressure off us because we're only in beta. Like, now there's pressure on us to get to market too. So it does work in both directions. But it was pressure that's it's self-driven. We want a quality product.
Salute the attic breaking stuff. Continue.
Yeah, no, right. he just lost it. He's throwing something at something. And his controller and his dishes.
He's doing good too. Continue.
But it's on the floor.
We can't rush a product either, because you risk damaging. In our case specifically, we have a brand that we're tied to with Xbox that is a brand built on a reputation that they've earned over decades now. We can't really undercut that and put us in a position where we throw out some service that's not ready for prime time. So I do appreciate the team having the mental fortitude to go, yep, Google's out and they're live, and we're not going to be first. But we're not going to release until we're ready, until we have a quality product. Now, it'd be cool to have a quality product ready to release and be first, but if, of the two, being first isn't always the most important piece.
I agree.
So do you think that by Google coming out first and sort of being limiting in its scope in terms of where you can play right now and how you're able to access them, as opposed to you guys, as opposed to xCloud, where it's an option, do you think they've kind of damaged the narrative around it a little bit, being that they were first and that was people's first big sort of eyes on?
I guess I would say I don't think so, because I don't want to speak to the competition. I think their techs, like, they are a legitimate competitor in this space, and you can't count them out. We've made mistakes, others have made mistakes. Like, I don't think they've done lasting damage of any type to this overall momentum in the industry to expand gaming to larger audiences. So I still believe that, I'll use the VR space as an example. There have been lots of attempts at consumer grade VR, and then they don't really go anywhere, and now Valve shows up with Alex and people can't wait to play it. So like I do think that you'll still get the right experience at some point.
Right.
And I don't believe that Google's just going to go, oh well, we missed that launch, we're out.
Right.
They'll continue to refine it, and yeah, that maybe I don't agree with the business proposals they put in place, but they have customers today, and more importantly, business policies are probably the easiest thing to change if your tech's legitimate.
Yeah, that's a good point. But I will say again, I got to talk my talk. That the way you guys have handled it, it has been again that slow, methodical until it's ready, like you said, like what Phil has reiterated. But also, people forget that people are impressed with the tech now, and you guys have continually improved it. But people forget those are running on Xbox One S server blades, right? So now, we got the Series X, announced, and shout out to Digital Foundry at this great, breakdown. And they said one of the mic drop moments was just seeing that the Series X processor is kind of capable of running 4 Xbox One S games simultaneously. So that was cool, and this whole new encoder and how it really can affect xCloud servers. Like, can you talk about like how more impressive it could potentially be with those Series X server blades? Like, tell us about that.
Well, so here's what I can say.
Let's talk.
A lot of people don't, when they're focused on gaming, they're not spending the time looking at other elements of the industry. Right. Serverless computing and the growth in Azure and AWS, as well as Google's cloud, like really has demonstrated the ability. You can run ML jobs, you can run a whole bunch of compute at a certain scale, and then NVIDIA and AMD come out with new processors, and suddenly the capability that one competitor has is leapfrogged by the next purchase order that the other person puts in place. Facts. And so there's absolutely just sort of I'll say a generic drive in cloud compute that says we can consistently upgrade the back-end infrastructure and start to drive economies of scale into the way we distribute any individual workload. And so I do think that will have a huge impact on, as we improve silicon, I'll just say it generically speaking, as silicon gets better, as it's capable of computing and doing more compute remotely, as it's capable of delivering a higher graphic fidelity remotely, you'll just see a natural improvement, similar to the way the back compat catalog looked better on Xbox One X, and we'll continue to see improvements in Series X. There's a natural improvement. And the nice thing about it is, because the hardware is remote, you don't have to keep buying new devices. You can just, your phone that you bought, you spent a lot of money on it, will last you for a few years, because you'll continue to see improvements on the backside, take advantage of what you can distribute.
That's awesome.
Besides the latency improvements and the graphical improvements by improving the silicon, what about like one thing that Stadia has specifically said about what this tech can do, like creating these humongous worlds or these multiplayer experiences with like 1,000 players? Is that realistic, or is that realistic by improving silicon, or is it more just improving the experience?
Well, I think it's again, back to the enterprise world, right? Like that is the de facto way the enterprise builds today. And I don't think that Google's talked about it. Other people have talked about it. There's actually a couple of companies that build game engines that are designed to be effectively infinitely scalable. And this is long term. This is far out types of things. But there's absolutely nothing that that would prevent a game developer from using the same sets of techniques to improve exactly that dynamic, right? So you can do scaling of the back-end infrastructure, so that when I have 20 people online, I have this many instances, and when I have 1,000 people online in the same game structure, I have that many instances. I can upload a whole set of assets into a cloud space that I can't ever do to a device. I've said this before. The one thing about game development when it's on a dedicated device is it's always constrained by some technology, whether it's the drive or the graphics card or the memory or the CPU. There's some device restriction that developers work around. And this goes all the way back to the Atari, when your music and sound effects were just static, processed through a sound chip a certain way. And so when you move development to the cloud at the enterprise level, one of the advantages that they have there is this sort of, and this is an enterprise discussion, but it's the dynamic pricing model of, I can pay for you compute when I need it, and I can stop paying for it when I don't. That also means that if you flip that to the developer side, I can build scalability into my app that allows it to go to any degree without having to worry about the target device that it installs on, because that's just spinning up at the simplest terms. I'll just spin up another instance or a container, and I'll just run it. And then if I need another one, I'll spin another one up and I'll spin another one up. Now, games today aren't developed to take advantage of that type of thing. But we've talked about it. Google's talked about it in the future. There's certainly the capability for them to do so. And as cloud gaming becomes more widespread, there's an economic incentive for a developer to build an experience, that fits that world. And then once somebody does, like the gaming world is, and I say this with nothing but love, is a game of copycats, right? So
Facts.
a network multiplayer gaming comes out in one game and takes over, everybody gets into it. So people start doing horde. One person does horde mode, everybody starts doing it.
Everybody do battle royale. Everybody in it.
And Half-Life Alyx being a success in VR hopefully spurs that. Someone's going to develop a game for cloud that's a cloud only game on someone's platform that will take the world by storm, and it'll be another Fortnite or whatever you want to call it, and everybody else will then go, okay, that's the market I got to be. I just don't know when it's going to happen. If I knew when it was going to happen and who it was, I'd be retired.
That'd be another promotion. No doubt, man. So we're gonna pivot into the next topic real quick, and then so pretty much, Lord Bill, like, again, tremendous history. I still feel that you have been on the forefront, very humble, but on the forefront of a lot of technological successes. 2 game-changing moments, particularly, that I've been with you. One, obviously, we talked about was the xCloud, E3 2019, doing that whole thing, seeing how we were able to demo that thing, and it's in an Azure cloud server 400 miles away. What is it, San Francisco? We're sitting there, and this thing feels almost one-to-one relationship, with Halo. I mean, again, epic moments, again, setting the trends, innovation in the industry. And then obviously our first meeting, I want to pivot back, which was E3.
Hold on, let's
we got to see
Lord Jameson.
Lord Jameson, throw the crest up for Lord Jameson.
Let's put the crest up for Lord Jameson for joining the realm.
Welcome to the realm, brother. You stepped up the gold. All right, you got the gold shield. We throw the shield up, bro.
Thank you for hitting that join button.
Join button, man. Salute you. I appreciate y'all in the realm, man. It really means a lot to us. So so again, these 2 game-changing moments. You had the Project xCloud, and then you had backward compatibility, I call it free 99. You didn't have to pay anything. You know what I'm saying? And it was so cool to see, because again, as we've said before, last LP you were here, at the time we were so used to having the tech of the older system in the new system for it to happen, but then through virtualization and all this cool stuff, you guys made it happen. So, and now, we're seeing with the Series X, they're talking about Halo 5, which didn't even have HDR, now having HDR, and, all these cool 360 games, full 4K. So, let's talk about back compat, as far as how impressed you were with that moment, and then how excited you are with Series X kind of bringing their library in.
Yeah, so I'll start with, and I've said this before, that E3 was the first, that was a moment, right? I've been at Microsoft almost 20 years, and that still is the highlight, I think, of my whole experience out there. Because if people don't know, that was the first time we had Fan Fest, where we were going to invite people into the stands, and actually decided to have at the Galen Center the floor filled with Xbox fans who had come to the mall and gotten an early access ticket.
Yes, sir.
And I had gone out to the mall. That night I was with Larry, with Major Nelson, and Aaron Greenberg, and we were walking around, and people are like, "Oh, it's Major Nelson. Oh, it's Aaron Greenberg, and some other dude."
I'm like, "Who's this dude?" Yeah, you keeping it real. That's true.
And what's funny is you couldn't say why you were there.
I couldn't say anything, right? So, in fact, we were talking about because I was officially the 360 platform lead at the time.
Yes.
And so we started talking about 360 games, and it was like, oh, my favorite game was Red Dead Redemption. My favorite game was Mass Effect. And I'm just like, yep, got to keep my mouth shut. And then we went to the event, and it got announced. And the best part of the announce was at that setup. We don't do them in this facility anymore, but there's giant teleprompters hung behind the stands that anybody in the stadium can see, but Phil's reading it from, and as he says it, as it scrolls up, you literally hear tens of thousands of people gasp.
Yes.
Like everybody got quiet for a second, and then he said it, and the whole place exploded.
Exploded.
And even then, right? So So Mike Ybarra came out and did the demo of Mass Effect being played as sort of our first thing, and I've been working with Mike then. He had just become my new boss, in the overall organizational boss for the platform, and so he and I worked on that demo and got it all ready to go, and then he did it, and he even acknowledged to me afterwards, after dinner, he's like, I wasn't sure people were going to care. Like, and he goes, I just didn't know, but I trusted Phil, I trusted you, so we did it, and it went over really well.
Oh my God.
So out of curiosity, what exactly happened? Like, was that like a key moment when? Because as far as like platforming goes, like for most generations, you don't really see people do backwards compatibility a whole lot. So when you decided, like, what? I don't know if you're allowed to say this. Like, what year did that start happening in?
Yeah, as far as development.
Oh, so the one thing I'll say about Microsoft is we've got tech for stuff that we'll try 3 or 4 times before anybody even hears about it. And I will say, and I think Kevin LaChapelle acknowledged this, like his team had actually made a run at this before, and then they got pushed on a different project. And so it wasn't like this was something we cooked up on the spot. Like the tools have existed for a long time. We showed a game, to that same point, we showed a game stream of a 360 game at a company meeting, I think like 8 years ago, 9 years ago, right? That's been reported, etc. So like we're always working on this stuff in the background, and Kevin had a small team of engineers, some really brilliant engineers, some of whom we talked in the interview, Eric Haichi, Spencer Perot, and others who have been working on this tech. And my role in this program was really take that, I'll call it a science experiment, and turn it into a real product. And so we put some structure on it. I said, listen, Phil's really big on gaming and gaming history. He's really big on preserving, in this case, digital purchases. And so work on this program, see if you can make something real out of it. It exceeded our wildest expectations, right? We figured we'd launch some games, people would think it was cool. We'd then be able to use that tech on key titles.
Then you started releasing stuff, and it tops NPD
and it just
charts.
snowballed, right? Like it became one of the highlights of the show that year at E3. It became a big program, and fortunately we had put structure around it so that we were able to quickly commercialize it at a higher scale than we had planned. I think I've also shared this, but I'll say it again. The one thing I do regret was marketing's like, well, how should we communicate new games? I'm just like, listen, when the games are running, we'll tell you, and you can tell us which ones you want to release. And they went, okay, great. So then they immediately went out and they built a website that said, vote for the games that you want. Like, no.
And then the website went down. And then the website went down.
And then the website went down. So but what it did do, and this is where I will, leadership is always, sometimes it's the intangibles that you see. Phil's love of gaming and his sort of cultural shift within the organization to say, look, all games are important, all gamers are important, and there's not just what's the latest and greatest that you have out there. Even for a game like a Call of Duty or a Halo or any of these top titles, the actual population of gamers, like a good title hits 20, 25, 30%. Like you don't see titles hit 100% of customers, really. At least not when they're initially launched, right? And so it's realizing that you've got these various demographics who like different types of experiences, or that they want to experience them at different times. That was the big learning with Back Compat, right? The 360 was such a huge library and was in existence for so long that people forget. That Mass Effect game, there was a whole generation of gamers who didn't even know what it was.
You even told me, you even said the story last time, I think about your son and everything.
I do have another question about it.
Before you jump in, let me just pay the bills real quick.
You got to start putting that who did that for you. Hold on 1 second, man. Because, Bill's been dropping a whole lot of Phil gems that people ain't been catching.
I'm putting them up both right now.
And what I do like, what I'm hearing is, first, my bet was right. He is the right man for the job. Second, when a team is led by somebody that has a vision, and the team buys into the vision of an individual, you start to hear them talk about the good qualities of things, and all games matter. No games left behind. Those stuffs aren't just little slogans. They are in the company, and it's starting to become fiber of the company. And the level of this is from me outside looking in. I do not work for Microsoft.
Clarity.
Yeah, it's just, you know, me looking in as a consumer.
Right.
The level of brand loyalty that y'all are building is growing. The confidence is growing, because I see when you drop off the Series X to Digital Foundry, and they just did a latest video
Powerful.
of, they did a series of videos, but the latest video was actual he going into each piece of the silicon, and how he put it together and how he felt about it. The level of confidence for a company to do that to somebody that's not beholden to you know, to say great things about them, that's going to tell it like it is, that level of confidence is outstanding.
Absolutely.
And it starts from the top down. That level of confidence. Do you hear how Bill's confidence in what he does? This it's amazing to me to hear this and to actually, because, you know, I've seen it. You know, I can't sit there and say a lot of things, but I've seen it in your eyes when we was talking at FanFest, and you was like, "Yo, did you touch it yet?" And I did, and Delilah was standing right there. Delilah caught the footage.
Yes.
I mean, it's amazing. You're doing truly amazing things, and it shows that you guys care. And I just had to say that, because, you know, you've been saying little Phil gems every so often, and I'm like, he got to be hitting the "who did that for you."
No, trust me. While Phil's been talking, I've been throwing. Bill been throwing up the Phil Dominus, the "who did that for." I've been throwing it up. The emojis been going live on the broadcast. Don't you worry, I got you. Listen, just real quick, because I gotta pay the bill. Then I gotta give it to Attic, because Attic got a question. So I gotta put up the crest again. JD Gamer, $2 super chat. Shout out to Bill for being a genius. You know what I'm saying? Salute. You know what I'm saying? And of course, Lord Jameson.
Tell my wife that.
And of course, Lord Jameson. You know what I'm saying? And shout out to Smitty Smith. Chris Hart, I know you ain't talking after the beating I gave you last week. Don't let me open the book of X on you with the $5 super chat. So they're already sparring already in the chat. That's cool. But let me get it back to Attic, because I know we were on the back compact question, and I also wanted to transition to what he's going to say also in reference to the PS5 as well. So get your question in, Attic. I know you was about to jump off on that.
So I have a couple questions, actually. All right. So the first question I want to ask is, you know, obviously with backwards compatibility, I would say recently here, especially with all the announcements with, you know, Xbox Series X and the PlayStation 5 with their backwards compatibility, I think a lot of people have a lot of misunderstanding to how that whole process is. Now, obviously, you can't go into everything, because we'd be here all day and I'd have a headache. What I'd like for you to do is just like briefly go over like the process to bringing a game to backwards compatibility.
So there's really, I'll defer some of this. So a good friend of mine and somebody I've worked with for a long time, Jason Ronald, took over the team for me as I moved on. And so he's been running the compatibility program now for the last couple of years. And I think there's really two levels of compatibility that you have to look at. There's the initial round of compatibility that we did for the Xbox One, which was what the team started doing. And that was building an emulator that ran, in this case, PowerPC code in an x86 architecture, and allowed us to bring the 360 games over and run them effectively in a wrapper on the Xbox One system. That's the kind of compatibility that gets us the 360 and in some cases the original Xbox games into the system and into the Xbox One catalog. We also use, I mentioned this before, we've used the same set of tooling and test processes to validate that existing Xbox One games will play on new hardware. This started with the Xbox One X because some games are temperamental, I'll say. The way that their game engine runs, just an increase in the clock speed destabilizes the platforms. And so we went through a whole process by which we validated that when we moved to the more powerful console in the Xbox One X from the original Xbox, all those games also ran. And we're able to use the same team, the same test processes to do that. Then also as part of that initiative, when you're looking at titles that run, you're also looking at the existing Xbox emulated 360 titles and making sure that they also run. And in that case, you can also tweak the emulator too to make it work better. That compatibility effort that we went through then became a capstone that said, okay, going forward, because Phil came out and said, we're not going to leave you behind. We're not going to leave you behind your digital purchases. We're going to make sure that we continue to maintain compatibility. And Jason and his team and my team initially all worked as part of the next gen planning to make sure that compatibility was a core structure of the even up the hardware design. And so that's where you're starting to see the second layer of that come into play now, which is your games, your peripherals all move forward, and we'll play on the new systems.
Huge future proofing. Huge. That is such a big deal. And I'm so glad you definitely said that, because again, it's a huge section of gamers. Like I said, that sometimes they worry, like, even parents, right? It's like, if I got to buy this system, I bought all these, consoles, these peripherals and these games for little Jimmy. Now you're telling me I got to get a whole new thing. So to bring all that forward is huge. Attic, I know you said you got a second question, and I wanted to talk
had
about
a question, like in terms of time frame. We spoke briefly, a couple weeks ago about necessarily like the speed, how you guys established a good way of doing this, and then moving forward things get easier and easier. So like at the very beginning, was it a lot more difficult than it is now? I don't, obviously you're not currently over there anymore, but I'm sure you still got a concept to how they do it now. I assume it's drastically easier than it was at the very beginning.
It's easier is a loaded term. It's definitely more efficient, right? I think that one of the things that we learned early on, and we've talked about this, so I'll share it. When we did the first announce, it was running in our preview program, and we found a pretty significant bug with the way the scheduler worked. And for those who don't know, the scheduler is what processes the threads in a certain order and makes sure that they can be, and the way the scheduler works on the 360 is fundamentally different than the way it works on the One.
Right.
And so we had built into the emulator a scheduler that worked a specific way, and then we found that the way we had built it may not work for most of the games. And so we put one of the smartest guys I know, I still work with him today, on this, and he rewrote the scheduler from scratch and got it working. Right, like those kinds of efforts, those Herculean sort of like, well, no one's going home until we figure this out, kinds of things are largely done.
Right.
We now have a system where it's repeatable, it's consistent, and if we're doing a change, it's a pretty specific change done for a specific issue. We don't have any kind of wholesale, well, the underlying structure doesn't work, we better figure something out kind of problems. And so in that regard, it's become much better, but it's been that way now for a long time. Some of this isn't a tech conversation. Some of this is rigor in how you test things. It's rigor in how you duplicate things. Like I tell people all the time, when you're doing graphical comparisons, right? Games do everything in their power to make it impossible to test side by side, right? They add randomness to the world so that certain weather conditions and time of day and all these things factor in. You're like, well, how am I going to get gameplay captures from the 360 version that matches the One version and do a side by side to make sure that the frame rates stay the same, to make sure that the lighting and the color depth is the proper color depth. We've built the backbone infrastructure now that stuff is something that everyone knows how to go do. It still takes a long time sometimes, so it's not necessarily easy. It's not like you push a button and it spits out a report that says, yep, they're good to go. But the process is understood by everybody involved in the program, and that makes it go a lot smoother.
So pretty
Okay.
much.
Hold on.
Shout,
We just got
put the crest up, y'all. Doron
Let's
Edwards.
put those crests up. Let's welcome
you,
to
brother.
another brother
Welcome
to the realm.
Thank you, brother. Really
Listen, being that you just joined the realm, I urge you after the podcast is over, go to check out your perks. Also go to the YouTube channel. There's a lot of videos that is locked out from the world that you get a chance to see. You get a chance to see separate ghosts and me for the first time meeting and stuff like that. And you also get a ton of bloopers, stuff like that, videos.
Absolutely.
So go check those out.
And those emojis, throw those emojis. Yeah, I see the crest up in the chat.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But I'm gonna give it back to you, Alex. What I asked. So obviously, Alex, this is something you mentioned, and we know what the competition is doing. For the first time we're hearing, Sony as far as PS5, mention back compat, but they seem to have some questioning in reference to the messaging, right? And what's gonna come forward and what's not gonna come forward. So like, I know you can't speak because obviously you're not working there, to what they're doing. But is there? I know you keep mentioning the challenges, right? So as far as all these generation, of Xbox, software and being able to have that compatibility and in a sense like this I want to say in a sense this really in-depth QA as opposed to, you know, everything else that's going on. So, you know, can you speak to like how difficult that is, and maybe maybe why they're having or the wording issues, or saying, hey, they're just going to be able to do a certain amount of games they can't do PS3 or whatever? Because I know, Attic, you had mentioned something like that. You had spoke to Bill in reference to this, correct? In reference to PS5 back compatibility.
Yeah. I wasn't gonna ask him that though, but
Well,
you can ask
but
him
we
that.
gotta ask. We gotta ask. You know, like, you know, the challenges, man. Is it real with these different generations of software?
Yeah, I mean, so here's what I will say. I want to say two things about the PlayStation 5.
Let's go.
One, like, these challenges are real, and they're not. You can't trivialize one company's capabilities over another. One of the things I will say is I think a strength that Microsoft brings to the table is at our core, we are a platform operating system company.
Yes.
We build we build hardware, but we build some great hardware in the Surface and the HoloLens and the Xbox. But generally speaking, our bread and butter and what we've been doing for the last 30 plus years is building platforms. Right. And so, you know, if you're developing today, even if you're building a game for a different platform, you're probably building it on Windows. And so we have a core understanding that I believe is a strength that we can leverage. We don't always do it well, but it's one that we have. And but I will say that hardware varies so much, and developers, especially the ones that get access in gaming, typically where they get access to the metal, do just crazy things to optimize and make their games the best experience possible, as I mentioned before, based on the limitations of the hardware platform they have in front of them.
Right.
And so I can't speak to the technical challenges that Sony has with the cell design architecture, other things that they've done. But so they may have hurdles that they can't, you know, overcome, or they made a decision that from a business perspective it doesn't make sense for them. That's their call to make, not mine. Right. What I will say, and this is
let's get it, Bill.
Maybe just no, like, I watched Sony's presentation about the PlayStation 5. Yes. I loved it. Here's the thing.
Break it down.
That man is brilliant. And I feel bad because I feel like his marketing department put him in a bad spot. that was something that someone like me is going to tune into that. Developers are going to tune into that, and we're going to learn a ton of stuff from a guy who's a genius.
Right.
Like, legitimately a genius.
I was talking to LordCognito, and sorry to interrupt you for 3 seconds. I was like, Mark Cerny did not stutter one time.
He was in his bag. Yeah, he was in his bag.
He didn't even have that time frame where your mind's catching up to what you want to say. He didn't have none of that. Like, he went from and like try doing that. I encourage everyone in the chat to try talking for 40 minutes without stuttering or anything like
innovative, that. Absolutely. And like you said, Bill, to you, you know what I'm saying? Like, you're in pocket. You're there with this genius talking. It's like you said it perfectly, and I've said this before to other gamers. It's no disrespect, right? It's just that I personally felt the same way you did, which I felt marketing did him no favors. Shout out to the cops going by. But that's what I felt. But continue on your impression of it.
Well, that's where I say, like, he released a lot of good technical information about their console that will. And what platform holders ultimately try to do, I think we'll do it well, and I think they'll be successful at it too, is give developers a set of tools that they can take to use to deliver on a vision that they've got for some type of game, right? And whether it's we've got more teraflops than they do, or they got a faster drive speed than we do, like, we're just giving tools out. We're building a platform that other people will take, and they will build experiences that, and including our own in-house studios, that will take advantage of those capabilities to give you, the gamer, an experience you wouldn't get any other way. And it's tough to judge the capabilities of another organization. I will simply say, I don't think there's any, we're not smarter than anybody else. We just have different priorities and different investments that we think is important for the product we're releasing. And they may or may not align with Sony's, but that's not because they lack the ability or it's too tough a problem for them to solve and not us. I don't think that's the case at all. I think he's an example of they have great, thoughtful, intellectual engineering leadership, and he did, and I thought he showed it in that presentation. I even liked the Mystery Science Theater 3000 setup because he
you like the cutout.
I thought it was really cool.
Yeah, well, you know what? In these times that we're living in at this moment right now, that was definitely necessary for what they were doing, and I do appreciate the fact that they tried to work around it, and they tried to bring a level of type of conference type of feel to it. What I would say is this: what I heard from before, because I'm not an IT guy, all right, and listening to you two guys talk about this stuff is like head spinning, but I will say this. You explained that changing clock speed and things can destabilize certain things.
Oh, Lord.
And what I did notice that in the Series X, it is a very stable exact box. And what I've noticed is the numbers aren't variable. You get this, you get this. And is that because of the house that you've built before? You had to bring that house over in a certain fashion to make sure that, okay, we want this to be the power level and the exact level where we need to be. This is the ceiling where we're looking at. This is what we're trying to achieve. All right, let's get to this. But we need it to be stable in a fashion that the old stuff can rely on it being stable. You're building a great foundation. Can you say anything to that? Is that my perception of it? Am I on point or am I a little bit off?
Stability.
I would think that I'll just say it this way. I think that we had very specific. The Xbox One launch wasn't the best launch, and so we had very specific learnings from that we didn't want to repeat. And I think that what you're starting to see is an organization that's gotten smarter and more mature about what it means to release product in this era with the way the world has changed over the last so many years. And we had a concrete vision. Like we don't go into this necessarily worrying about what others are going to do. You go into something like this making sure you can do the best that you're capable of, and then the outcome is whatever the outcome is.
Facts.
And you either, and this, I think this is just like a life lesson, right? Like you either meet the bar you've set,
that's it,
and that bar is good enough for everybody else, or you're the best semi-pro player that ever make the show, right? Like there's no other way to describe it than you just do the best you can. I love the Xbox team that's there today. I think they're a fantastic group of engineers. I've enjoyed working with them. What you're seeing, what I will say is what you're seeing is the outcome is a bunch of dedicated people working really, really hard for a long time to do things the right way, at least as they understand them.
Yeah, I'll just jump in right quick. And first off, like you said, we all know about the Xbox One launch, right? I completely agree. We don't feel it was necessarily the best representation as far as a launch. But to see Microsoft in the position where the aggressiveness, the transparency, right? I think that to me speaks volumes. Like King is saying, that confidence in the product where you're like, look, Digital Foundry, you guys, you know what I'm saying? Austin Evans, you guys, these are guys that's going to pick apart your tech. You know what I'm saying? These are guys who are going to get down to the metal, who are going to say what you can and what you can't do. So if you're showing it to these guys, you best be prepared. If there's any issues, you know what I'm saying? It will be brought up. So to me, that's a change. That's a philosophy change. That is confidence. We started to see it with the Xbox One X, and it's now come the same type of marketing. And I have to give praise to that because, this is something I've wanted to see from Microsoft. And again, not to backtrack back to just or like say something negative about Sony all the time, but I have to admit that was my frustration with the Mark Sony thing as far as, look, I get it. Theoretically, he's saying stuff that's speaking to you, Bill. You're sitting there, he's spitting these bars, and you're like, oh my God, this is the greatest thing ever, right? For us, it's like, you have to give us real tangible examples. You have to give us benchmarks to show these things that you're talking about. Not saying that you're lying, but just that's what Microsoft's doing. I feel that you guys are doing so well right now. It's like, hey, you want to see 4 games and the resume feature? Here's the implementation, right? You want to see all these different things? Here's an example of Gears 5 right now, comparison with a 2080, you know what I'm saying? HDR, some ray tracing. We got a Minecraft demo, right? The difference as far as mind share is huge. That is huge because you're getting people to say, okay, you know what? This is a reason to get this box, right? Here is a reason. And that, again, I'm not saying Sony will never do that, right? We're just talking about at this current point, you guys are knocking it out the park. You know what I'm saying? And that's the only, I guess that was the frustration from the non-technical folk when watching the Shirley presentation. That's all I want to say on that.
Well, sure. I think I understand where the frustration comes from. I will say there's two sides to every organization, right?
Yes.
We have had a very strong marketing department. Greeny's fantastic, right? He is so passionate about building brand and building fan interest in everything that we do and making sure that fans get heard, making sure that fans get seen. Cindy Walker has done an amazing job in how we do the reveals and how we do other stuff. And even prior to those people, I'm still very close with Albert Pinello, even though he's
that's
Amazon.
The man right there. That's like G1
Albert. That's right. Like Albert drove a certain level of just accountability into the messaging that ultimately that org is now as in sync with an engineering org as I've ever seen. And we all have the same mission, we all have the same goal, and that's where you start to see this stuff come together in a comprehensive story that's doing well. Look, I fully expect that Sony will eventually show gameplay and people will be like, dang, that looks amazing. And they will show a title that people will be all excited about.
Absolutely.
They're going to produce a good console. I don't have any doubt about it. It's going to be a good experience. So we're just at a different phase of our messaging, and we have some people who really understand their craft. Even though it's a non-technical craft, they still deliver it. It's just as much a craft as anything you do on the technical side or the engineering side, and they're doing a great job at it.
No doubt. Just got to pay the bills right quick. Let me move on. Smitty Smith telling on Super Chat, the PS fanboys base their whole generation on numbers, but cannot compute 12 is a higher number than 9.2 and 10.3. Oh, my God. Whatever numbers they choose next week, the Book of X, salute.
You can't say the Book of X like that. You got to say the Book of X.
The Book of
I
X.
mean,
fair enough. So I'll put the crest up for that. The Book of X. Smitty Smith again, $2 Super Chat. Chris, you cannot beat the good book. Keep trying. The Book of X. Smitty Smith again, $2 Super Chat. Are we done, Chris? Thank you. Now enjoy the podcast. So there's a little console war going on in there.
I have to disagree with you, King. You can't say like that dark melody. You have to say it like the playful one, Book of X. Like, King want me to say it like I'm in Batman, Book of X.
No,
I can't do that, man.
It can be interpreted any way Smitty Smith likes it to be interpreted. Being that you are the creator of the Book of X, I just want to know, how do you like it said?
Oh my God, you're out of control. We out of control right now. Moving on, last thing, and then we'll get into some the questions that we asked around. In reference, last thing with xCloud, and I forgot to ask you, was dynamic latency input. And I noticed you guys are really stressing that whole limiting the barriers to getting those, that relationship, that control, you know what I'm saying? How do you feel about that tech? And also, I think it was Digital Foundry I mentioned in reference to even stuff in the Series X being able to detect the TV and switch it into game mode. Then the new controller now with better latency features that will be firmware upgradable with the old stuff. I pay attention, Bill. I'm on it. But I mean, like, how do you feel like all these improvements? Is this really going to take this xCloud to the next level?
What I can say is that we've spent a lot of time, as much as bandwidth was the determining factor in the quality of video, latency really is going to be the quality factor in the determination of gameplay experiences when they're remote. It's been a core tenet of how we built the system from the beginning. One of the things that, there's a couple of advantages I think that Microsoft does have in this space. One, you need a distributed cloud network. There's only like 5 companies on the entire planet that have one big enough to do this kind of stuff. We're one of them. That helps a ton. And those like the concept of latency for gaming is not just a gaming only concept, right? When you talk about what I want to do with low cost devices and remote, VR and AR experiences, you still have to have that same kind of, the human brain is very susceptible to latency in a VR experience. So if we don't want people walking around with glasses on vomiting everywhere, we're going to figure that element out too, right? So that technology is widespread in terms of its value. But gaming is one of the things that pushes it forward. And I believe that getting to work with Microsoft Research, getting to work on this technology and this team, I don't have any doubt that they'll nail it.
Awesome, man. This is very encouraging, man. I am super pumped. You have no idea. But I hear this type of tech, and again, you making the unbelievable believable. You and your team. You know what I'm saying? It is really, you know, I cannot wait to see the next gen also with the with just Microsoft in general when you in that VR space to make me a believer. You can make me a believer. I'm hyped, man, because I've been a skeptic, you know. So I got to ask you to run.
We'll get there.
We'll get there, man. I hope we do, man. So I got to ask the questions that we ask all the guests in the realm. Now, Lord Bill, last time you were here, we had since debuted top 5 game of all time. You had missed that because it didn't exist. So now that you are back almost 100 episodes later, what is Lord Bill Stillwell's top 5 video game franchises of all time? Or games?
Jeez, you put me on the spot. So, okay, so we're going to start with NHL 94.
Woo! Throw the
That's a
jerseys
given.
up. Throw the jerseys up.
That's right. We're going to start
Jerseys though.
And for those foolish people who try to follow me on Twitter, like, I'm mostly going to tweet about hockey, just so we're clear. So NHL 94 for sure. I'll say Road Rash for the 3DO because I definitely want to make sure that gets put in there.
No doubt.
I'll have to say Civ, just the Civilization series all up, because that was definitely just a mainstay, especially for the PC.
Absolutely.
And then you're going to put me on the spot. So I'm going to pick an Xbox game just because I have to pick an Xbox game. And for me, it's Gears of War. Like that.
Ooh.
Like as much as Halo's our franchise, Gears of War is the one that speaks to me as a gamer. Probably more. That is by far my top.
Is it the first one or is it just the series in general?
I think it's the first and the second.
Okay.
The series in general, I think is. I liked all of them.
Right.
Even 4 and 5 and Judgment and because I love what that series, like the underlying story of that series, talking about family, and the extended family, and the motivations behind it in tough times. That some of I had probably one of the toughest years this year. And that's the family's important to me. It's everything for me, and so that's why that game more than anything speaks to me. And as much as you'd expect me to say for my 5th Overwatch or Destiny or some other game, honestly, for a third-party franchise, it's Borderlands.
Wow!
Especially the second one. That game, the number of hours I sunk into that game, I probably have sunk more hours into Overwatch.
What? That's a surprise. You surprised me with Borderlands.
Listen, make sure that y'all go to Game Pass right now because that game is about to leave Game Pass. So make sure that you go to Game Pass, download those games, and you can actually play what Bill just said, which was mind-blowing. Borderlands. Go in there. He's the part 2. Go do it.
Oh yeah, I do the Game Pass stuff. Wow, Borderlands.
And I'll probably change my 5 over time because it's tough to get caught on the spot. But
all right, that's the 5 though. I like it. That's what I am some. Oh my God, look at Slow Mo. Look at Dizzy. Oh, I like this guy. Look at the Borderlands credit chat. They are going crazy right now. Don't encourage him, Slow Mo. He said it could change. It could change. He can put Overwatch next time he comes back on IOP. It could change. I'm just joking. Nah, but salute the Borderlands. Well designed series. One of the the OG looter shooters, still going on strong. Fantastic. Now, yes, Dizzy, the godfather of Lucia. Yes, I understand. They're going crazy in the chat. So the new question I got to shout out is this is hard now. You know what I'm saying? We may get you in trouble. We got to ask it. It's a gaming question. Favorite console of all time and why? Any generation. We can span it from all the way to past to now. Let's go.
So, you know it's gonna be one. You know it's gonna be one of two.
I already know it's gonna be one of two. So I just want to know which one.
You know what? I'm gonna go. Unless I love the 3DO, I'm going to go with a Sega Genesis.
I know it.
You knew it was gonna happen. Look,
talk about, let them know, educate them, Lord Bill, on why the Genesis is.
Here's the thing: I've always had consoles. I had an Atari. What became, I think, they eventually called the Atari VCS, and the 2600, the 5400, and the 7800, which is basically just a computer. Yeah. I've had a lot of Commodores and Apple computers, but for me, the first console game that was actually I'm now a console gamer in phrase. What was the Genesis?
You're on something. I'm giving you the on to something emoji. Keep talking.
And more importantly, so I was in the Marine Corps, and one of the things that we used to do, we sit in the squad bay and you had time to kill, and we'd put on Bulls versus Lakers or Bulls versus Blazers, or we put on one of the NHL games, and we just sit around the squad bay and kill time and like this is before there was online play. Like those community, that social experience, that's what makes games, right? It's not just me playing somebody and I'm playing Bulls and he's playing Blazers, or I'm playing as a Blackhawks with Jeremy Roenick and he's playing somebody else, and I lay him out in the game and the stretcher comes out. It's the 10 other guys behind me. 10 other guys behind me who are cheering, and we're all engaged, and like that to me is what gaming's about.
Yes.
And also that game, that system, like it was always Nintendo, it was always Nintendo, and then Sega came out, was just like, let's go. And it was awesome.
Does with Nintendo. Let's go.
The dark horse.
Let's go. Yo, shout out to Stinger. He said, okay, the big question though, what about Sega CD? The Sega kids are up in there. Shout out to JD Gamer, $5 super chat, throw the crest up for you, brother. He says, Bill, is there anything you would like about the Xbox Series X more than any feature, and what are your predictions for the future of consoles? They try to sneak some questions into Bill. I don't know if any feature with the Xbox Series X that you're the most excited about for the future.
As much as people talk about, and this is just the next gen in general, because it's both systems, I think.
Absolutely.
As much as people talk about graphics and CPU, etc., I'm actually super excited for the increase in speed around storage. It's ironic because the first game we showed for back compat was Mass Effect, which had the elevators there just because they needed time to load the levels up.
Yes.
And as much as I love Destiny,
let's not talk about Destiny.
No, let's talk about
let me take a half hour to go get my bounties and then get into the event that I want to get into as it loads up.
So what's funny is me and Cognito used to joke around, but like, man, we can't even eat anymore on PC, because it goes straight from one screen to another.
SSD is such a game changer. Like,
well, you see it in the PC version of Destiny, right? Like, I got used to load up the game, go to the tower, and go get a sandwich, right? And then you play it with an SSD on a PC, and you're like, oh, I don't have time to stand up before it's already loaded up in the thing. So I act, and that's just the mechanics of existing games, right? Now, when developers have that knowledge in front of them that this is now no longer a bottleneck, what can they do to sort of have that seamless world that streams in all the time? And I think that will be, no pun intended, game changing for the industry.
Absolutely.
And might end up being the killer feature for the next generation.
Absolutely.
I got one question for Bill before he leaves, because it just popped into my head. All right, being that you like to challenge yourself to no end, do you ever see yourself making a game?
Ooh, good question.
So it's always been a dream of mine. So I'm gonna give you the inside scoop about my journey this last year.
Let's go.
I really looked hard at moving to a game company. And I do want to build a game. I do want to be involved. Like, it's something that's to me, that's the missing part of my portfolio. And I've always been on the platform side of the business. One of the things I've loved specifically about xCloud, but it started with the Back Compat program, is that a lot of my job is working with developers. And I spend a lot of my time to explain the platform features and how they can use them. And I'm always amazed, and I sit in these rooms and I'm like, well, we got this concept for a game, and so we want to do this thing, and how would it work with your tech? And these guys are unbelievable. And the amount of creativity in this industry that you're trying to untap and open up on your platform, I definitely want to be on the other side. But by the same token, I'm not cheap. So like,
Get
it's
the
hard
bag,
to break
baby.
into an
Get
industry
the
at the next
millions.
level when you haven't done it before, because I've been on the platform side for so long. I don't want to step back and not be able to like take care of my family.
So it could be like a little passion project on the side that you're working on.
Yeah, maybe. I
It's
play around.
he's just sitting there thinking, well, when do I have time to have a passion project?
Yeah, well, that's
listen,
it. I mean,
he's a genius. They said it already.
Yeah, it's a timing thing for me, right? Like between, for those who don't know me, I coach youth hockey and I play adult hockey. I also volunteer for search and rescue. Like, those take up time. So when I do have a spare moment, if I'm not spending it with the family, I've usually got some other commitment outside of both those. Search and rescue and youth hockey are both charities, so that we're raising money, and my hours spent there help fund those organizations. And so sitting down and writing a game is a dream that probably won't happen. I'd probably catch up to you on statues. Speaking of which, I just want to say, as much as you've turned off your Black Panther. I got my Witcher one going.
Ooh.
Bend the knee, Lord Bill. Is that the classic scene?
Yes, yes. He got the one with him in the tub.
Shout out to Gerald the Rivia. Nice.
I gotta bend the knee, sir.
That's what's
I gotta
up.
bend the knee.
I've started. I'm gonna catch you.
That's what's up, man. King started, man. He started a whole culture of collection.
Let me tell you something. When Bill and I got a chance to talk, I didn't know that he watched King of the Statue. You know, you don't know who's ever watching.
You don't know who's watching.
Yeah, when he told me he watched, I was like,
You can also tell if you're watching the stream who's done this professionally by their backdrop, and then there's me. I'm sort of like, my kids have taken over the office because they're schooling from home now.
Yeah.
So I'm just sort of relegated to a back room.
Oh my God, hilarious! Shout out to Philly Eagle File Super Chat. Thank you for acknowledging Destiny is just as slow as a certain other game. Honesty matters. Oh my God, they're petty. Look, man, we got to move on. I still got one time, but Lord Bill, I know if you can hang, great. I'll never throw you out.
I got nothing to do.
My man, so he's hanging. That's what's up, man. So we get into the poll.
Quarantine life.
Yeah, we got one topic. You know what I'm saying? We get into the poll. So we salute
one topic.
Lord Bill. So yeah, man, the winner. So we got the poll. So we got the question. Last week poll results are in, and to the question, with the tech spec reveals of both the Xbox Series X and the PlayStation 5 this past week, which tech features do you think will be the most important? The winner of the not too divisive, but kind of divisive three-way ILP poll at 64% is the 12 teraflops DX12 Ultimate and full RDNA 2.0 of the Series X group. Coming in at second place at 27% was the next gen SSD, variable clocks, and 3D audio group of PS5. And coming in at last place at 9% was I don't care until we get that Digital Foundry side-by-side comparison group. So shout out to...
I didn't win this week. I didn't win.
Shout out to all the lords who participated. Lord King, Lord Saab, any feedback on this?
I'll take that. I'm upset at you guys for not voting for number 3. I'm truly upset, but I know we will not probably get a head-to-head. So we will have to settle for number 1. But listen, anytime I talk about that last one, please mess with my messery. Get messy with me. Choose number 3 always.
Shout out to the messy lords. Shout out to Gaming on Forte, $2 in the chat. Don't crest up. Just wondering, did Addict leave for work yet? Why are we trying to throw Addict out? What's going on, Gaming Forte? What's up with that? What's going on, man? I don't know why you trying to throw my boy out the realm.
Look, man, I work one less day of the week, so I don't have to leave early anymore.
Appreciate you, brother, making the sacrifice for the lords. We bend the knee to Addict for making the work sacrifice. You already know. So we're gonna get into our one topic today, and God debut that new emoji song. Something was pretty hot this week at Nintendo Direct. Woo! Switch seemed to be coming in very hot, y'all. So I'm gonna let you start setting it off, Saab. You know what I'm saying? Oh, be that we get to talk about. We don't get to talk about Switch.
Just about anything from them right
no,
now.
Bill, we don't get to talk about Switch a lot. So me and Saab have to confide in each other with these moments.
Well, when they do talk about Switch, they never shut up about Switch.
I'm assuming I'm gonna pivot to you because. All this Bravely Default talk.
Because you didn't watch it. Okay.
Did you play it?
I did not.
I played it.
Oh, you
okay? Good. So I'm gonna pivot to you. Good.
Oh, yeah.
So you're gonna talk about Switch today. That's what you're gonna do.
Oh, you talking?
You're gonna like
CrossFit
You're talking about the demo.
Yes.
The demo.
No, I was referring to the previous ones. Did you play them?
I played the first one, but that's it.
He said it.
No, I haven't been able to play the beta yet, but I beat the first 2, the Bravery and Bravery Second.
Mm-hmm. So let's set it up, Saul. One, did you get a chance to see the Direct? And
I did.
If you did, let's set it up. You know, what kind of things excited you? That whole kind of bit, and then we move it around the round table.
For me, it's what I've always said about the Switch. From the moment the Switch got announced, and the power they said was comparable to last generation, if not a little bit better.
Yeah.
I said I want my entire last gen catalog on this machine. Because last gen for me, it was just like there was so many games, and I got most of them. I just never got around to playing most of them. Right. So it's just a matter of how am I able to play this stuff when I'm never home.
Right.
You hire Bill's team and you allow them to put it in a fashion that you don't have to rebuy every last
That is
game
correct.
all
That is
over
correct.
again in the Nintendo fashion of
It's not
gouging
even-
So
your
this is-
wallet.
This
It's
is
not
this is
even
my issue, right?
rebuying games over and over again. In some cases, he's paying more on the Switch than you would on
That
the
is correct. That is correct.
Slander.
But this is my issue. Again, I have unique issues. I'm
Yes.
generally in a dungeon somewhere.
Yes.
I don't have great internet most of the time. I rocked out with xCloud when I first got into the beta, and it was great for a little bit. And then, again, the nature of my job is that I'm under a building somewhere most of the time. So that it's not viable on a day-to-day basis.
Right.
I hope at some point that's not the case. So I'm stuck, yes, with Nintendo tax. That's what I'm stuck with.
There's a
But
benefit.
for me, like I said, it's continuing to do what I always wanted the machine to do, is just to bring all of these older games forward. Obviously games that are kind of sort of stranded on the Wii U, stuff like that, and then bringing forward games that, let's be frank, most people are not taking their Wii out to play or anything like that. So that's what excited me most. Obviously the new stuff. They talk more about the expansions to Pokemon, Sword and Shield.
Yes.
Bravely Default 2, obviously, the Marvel Ultimate Alliance editions and stuff like that.
That was to me right there.
Exactly.
I have to purchase that game now. Now my knee. No, I never brought it.
We gotta put the is the king.
You can say whatever you want to say. I
knee?
never brought it. No.
Finally, is he going to get a Switch game in 2020?
No, you know what? Let me tell you something. Shout out to Dizzy. Dizzy, I don't know if you saw this. I don't know if you saw the trailer of God Doom.
Oh, it's amazing.
I'm going to tell you this, Dizzy, right now. This is the reason why I'm going to purchase Marvel Alliance, even though it was like one of my best 360 games. And I love the fact that I'm able to still play it. Shout out to Microsoft. I do say this: when I saw that trailer, I woke up, because it was a lot of stuff that I wasn't really concerned about when I was watching the NintendoDirect. It was well done.
Wow.
But when it got to that game, Dizzy, get your checkbook out.
He said, yes.
Yes, get your
Shout out to
checkbook
his
out.
article right now. He's got a beautiful article on LordsGaming.net, top 5 takeaways from the Nintendo Direct. Yes, salute. Continue.
So yeah, when he said Doom must be God. Y'all don't know who Doom is.
Talk about KOS talk about it.
You guys are in love with Thanos to this point, and Thanos is a product of, he's organic. He's like 50 Cent. He's organic. He comes from the underground. He was Jim Stalin's little creation that turned into something that was monstrous, that became MCU big bad.
Right.
But the greatest big bad was always in my Marvel's staple.
With Doom.
He always went up against the first family. The first family is the Fantastic Four. But Doom permeated the whole Marvel. He has antagonized X-Men. He has antagonized Namor. He has antagonized the Avengers.
Silver Surfer.
He single-handedly, this is how smart Doom is. He single-handedly suckered the Silver Surfer.
Let's not talk about this.
Took his power cosmic and jumped on his surfboard and rode it all over the place.
Disrespect. I don't like this talk. But yes, you are right. He is. I will say that I think you're onto something in this. I'll give you that. In that, I feel Thanos was organic as far as they didn't expect him to be. I think they wanted Doom to always be their big bad, but Thanos was the thing that kind of caught fire and became popular. I don't know. What do you think? But like in reference to the Marvel Alliance, that kind of thing. Now you see. I don't know if you got a chance to see the Doom DLC that's coming for it. What did you feel about Doom as a character and also the game, the Ultimate Alliance series?
Well, so Ultimate Alliance is another reason to have a Switch. It's actually the one that I wanted 3 so bad. That's why I had to get the second Switch, because my kids wouldn't give it up. It's interesting watching the MCU build these movies out with villains and the way they handle what the movie versions of them need to be like versus what do you do with the Galactus? What do you do with Doom? What do you do with, ones that they haven't really shown well, right? Skinless Man and others, right? There's a whole set of them that, because I think licensing restrictions and Fox owned this and other things like that, they haven't been effective in pulling them in. But it's an untapped era where I think they can go forward. The one thing I will say, I tell this to anybody who asks, I'm Marvel over DC because I like, hold on.
Let's go.
I like Marvel's heroes better because Marvel's heroes are, I'll say it, they're humans that inherit some godlike power and the humanity struggle to deal with it. That said, I think DC villains are spectacular.
So you go DC villains over
No, see what he's explaining
here's King Damage.
No. What is he explaining is, I've always said this. DC heroes are gods. Right,
yes,
and they're unrelatable to the common man, whereas the common Marvel, this is the genius of Stan Lee. I can't state it enough. Is I think he saw himself in all these characters as something that he humanized them to the point that you can see that they're broken, that they're flawed, and they're struggling, but at the same time they struggle to be a hero, and we all want to do good. So when we read these books, a lot of times these books, they delve deep into your core. Like it's something that you can relate to. Like Spider-Man has a job as a pizza delivery guy. He's working inside the Daily Bugle, but at the same time, he's still trying to go out at night to save and use his power for good because his uncle died when he used it selfishly, which is a human trait.
I feel that.
So you can relate to that, and that's what I try to talk about. Like, Superman is an alien that came from space that is a god. Like he's been a god since he got here.
So, I mean, Superman, in my book, Superman's probably the most boring comic book character.
Thank you.
Because there's nothing you can do about it, right? Like he's just like, except for his green rock. and like you nailed it with Peter Parker.
Yes.
Right? Why is Spider-Man such an endearing figure to especially to younger people? Because he's a 16-year-old boy who's got all the problems of dating and high school and working a job. And then he also, at the same time, he's given this godlike power that he uses wrong, and his uncle dies, and then he goes out and fights Carnage, right? Like there's this level that, and it's, I think what appeals to me about Marvel is they have that dichotomy front and center, which is actually why I think Batman's probably the most popular DC character, because he's the closest to the broken one. He doesn't really have any skills, right? He just has lots of gadgets and he's rich.
He even said that's a superpower. He's rich.
but then you look at the villain, and I think the villains are the exact opposite as well, right? The Joker's just a broken guy.
Yes.
And you see what a Heath Ledger can do, or Joaquin Phoenix can do with these
I gotta give it up though.
characters.
The Joaquin Phoenix.
Like what they can do with those characters on the other side, humans who are broken, but then also have these powers.
I agree.
And that's the mix that I think is, when you have the Thanoses, or you have the Galactus, or you have Doom, it's harder for Marvel to bring some of these characters and build them as credible villains. Although hats off to what they did with Thanos in the series to date. So, Dormammu, I think was a wasted opportunity. I love the Doctor Strange movie. But that character was so more powerful than they could possibly portray him on the big screen. They lost something in the way that they ended up using him.
That's a good point. That's a good point, man. So we go move on. Attic, I mean, did you get a chance to? First of all, Bill, I'll give it to you. Back to Bill also. First, did you get a chance to watch the direct, and if not, or anything, and if you did, like anything that you caught from it that excited besides Marvel Ultimate Alliance?
The only thing I'll say is, I wish I was engaged with the Ring Fit. I sort of feel like I want to try it, but I don't really dock my Switch ever. Like I think I have to go find the dock.
Salute. Same here.
So I don't know how much usage I get out of it.
It's very hard to find. I'm looking for it right now too. You know what I'm saying, with the isolation thing. And I want to shout out one of our writers,
Switch is like $500.
This thing is hard to find, man. But I've heard, you know what else, Addict? Lord Eric's, he's got a good video up on it, and he gave it like like a hardcore fitness guy test. Is this thing truly And he was like, yes, it passed. So, you know, salute to Lord Hector, Lord Macho. He's got an article on lordsofgamer.net about Ring Fit. I'm looking for it. If anybody knows where I can find it, please. I want to pick it up to see.
eBay.
Again. Yeah,
$700.
Really?
No, I'm just joking.
No, you're not.
No.
No, listen,
No,
secondhand market right now with Switch products is insane.
That's crazy.
My Wii U is going for $500, and it's still sitting inside my room.
So, a little bit of Ring Fit Adventure, something that you would like to get your hands on?
Yeah, I think just, you know, look, we're all going through this weird adjustment too as we figure out how to live in the house. And not, and you know, and do the right thing and not leave. We don't have to, but I'm going a little bonkers, so I need something to keep me busy.
Exactly. Between all the VR stuff, you gotta do new stuff. You gotta do other things. I feel that.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying? Lord Addict, did you get a chance to watch it direct, sir? Any feedback?
I mean, I didn't watch it, but I went to one of those things that told me the announcements.
Yes.
I woke up to a message from you saying XCOM got announced, and that's cool. I like it, but I looked at it and I was like, that ain't it. Like, I saw how some of those models looked. I was like, is that a snake or is that like, I don't know what that is. But I saw Borderlands gameplay. I was like, that ain't it. Like, so, you know, but you know, people want those in a mobile fashion. So if you want to, you're gonna have to deal with that downgrade to those N64 graphics.
Oh Lord.
Can you say this though, Addict? Can you say this? Far from any other machine that they had other than the Super Nintendo, they have the support of the third party to a level. I never thought I'd see Borderlands on the machine. I never thought I'd see The Witcher on the machine. And I don't care what form that they're getting it, they're getting them. Just getting these games. It's truly insane to watch happen because these two guys got to come on this show and I got to listen to these guys talk.
It's just not the indie support, right? And it's the fact that they're getting new stuff. Like if you talk pound for pound, brand new stuff exclusive to their platform. Neither console could compare. Like neither other big console can compare. It's crazy. So the thing is, it's like you said.
It's just none of that stuff I care about, though. It's like, I mean, listen, like I said before, I live in my own little bubble and I'm selfish, right? Okay, so I'm unapologizing to apologize. I don't care. I don't care. But I say this, like a lot of that stuff, I did not care. Then when it got to the Marvel Alliance, I was like, oh, well, look here, right? So they did say something to me, right? Because you know, when I saw Doom, and it was like, oh, it's about to go down.
Facts.
I feel that. But then somebody else saw that Marvel Alliance is like, it's not for me.
Right.
That was me.
Yes, we know.
But they're hitting. See, but then they yelled XCOM to you, and you was like, nah, that ain't it. You know, so they're gonna do something. They're looking like they're gonna do something. They pull you in, and these guys aren't stopping. And I just gotta salute them because from the shambles that was the Wii U to rise like the Phoenix, it's only good for gaming, and I do appreciate them. I gotta say, I gotta bend the knee. Yeah, it is.
My cousin, I work with him. He pretty much is exclusive just on the Switch, and it's just like, you know, people want these games. It's there. You know, you definitely playing the very downgraded versions, but you know, you can definitely play them.
Be a backhanded compliment with you. Why can't
Addict is the one that cares on the Xbox? He doesn't care about this stuff.
Look.
Yeah, that's true. Thank you, Saul. Thank you, Saul. He don't care about graphical fidelity on Xbox, but on Switch, he's a snob.
Buying these games. Look. At the end of the day, if I have the access to the better version, I'm not going to buy the worst version.
Yeah, but you're talking snootily about it, like King.
I said, if you want it, go get it. I ain't stopping you, Saul. If you want to play it, go get it. Like maybe, you know, I have a saying. If I'm at least a little interested, I'll wait for sale. But guess what? We ain't getting that either.
But Addict, why you pocket watching the people that's buying the other?
I don't care. I really don't.
I gotta throw the pocket watching.
You know what
I mean, you can pocket watch me all you want. I literally don't care. People
listen, you know what I love?
I bought a Nintendo Switch for Nintendo products. If you want to play XCOM 2, an amazing game, you'll love it. But I've already beat this game. I don't care.
You know what I love about Addict right now? He is bougie Addict.
Yes, we're seeing a new Addict.
He walked around with Gucci on and like.
I love bougie Addict.
Bougie snob resolution Addict is funny.
Well, no, it's not that. It's you give me a game, and you know, me and you've always said from the start, XCOM's a great game on the Switch. But I've played like 150 hours in the game. It's cool. But Saw, did I not just say?
Yeah, it's cool.
If you guys want to get this third-party game, that's cool. I bought it for first party. Have I not always said that?
Yes.
I've been consistent.
But
I didn't buy a Switch for first-party stuff.
But you even like you'll rip second-party stuff that's exclusive to them.
Oh, I will. I'll rip it because it does look significantly worse.
Yo,
it's like I said, if you want to play that, that's up to you.
Yo,
why don't you compare Final Fantasy X on the PS4 and Xbox to the Switch? It doesn't even look like the same game.
Shout out to Kanice Pearlio. He called you Balenciaga Addict.
It's like I said, like these games are great portable games. If that's what it's like King. If that's what they had to do to get these on the platform, cool. Yeah. But you ain't gonna sit here and be like, "Oh, it's awesome, you guys."
Listen,
I love that they got it on there. Like I don't care. Like I don't want to play any of these.
You know what I did like from them, and I hope they do. I hope they do. I hope they do a streaming service because when they did the Resident Evil streaming, it looked great.
Okay, now you understand.
And I say this because I've seen the future, right? I've touched the future. Pause. You know, when I was at FanFest, and then I got a chance to touch it when I got home. I didn't even know I was part of the beta until I checked it, and I was like, "Yeah, I'm in." Right? I felt really great about it. I want that level of fidelity to reach the Switch, and I think through that tech, it can happen that way. You know, so because a lot of times, you know, like Addict said, you won't be playing the worst version. Actually, to be honest with you, if you can offload all that horsepower and you're just streaming it to the system, you can actually achieve that fidelity without losing what you're talking about. Like they won't be the worst version. It will just be the version of it running on the tech.
Okay, now
so we can get there.
I want to say real quick because you definitely ordered something. We did hear those rumblings earlier, you know, about Nintendo and Microsoft being very cozy. Then it kind of dissipated.
Well, there ain't nothing he's gonna say about that.
We don't know what Bill Gates talking about. We ain't gonna get no Bill.
Listen, I remember. Way back when. I remember way back when.
Going through a tunnel.
way back when, Lord Stillwell won one of our monthly prizes, right?
Yes.
So it just so happened when those rumors are going around, right? Yes. So I text him to figure out how we do the pricing, whatever the case may be. So playfully, I'm like, I heard some rumors, just totally playfully. And so he shut down completely. I got no more correspondence. he says we don't comment on rumors and speculation. Boom, and that was it. I'm like, okay, but
you got corporate PR on your card. Salute to that PR training. Salute to that PR. That was masterful.
It's like I said, when it comes to the Switch, I bought a Switch for Zelda. I bought Pokemon. Yeah. I'm even considering Animal Crossing. I don't understand. Like I go on there and I see people graduating on that. I'm like, what is going on here? And that's cool. People like Animal Crossing. It might not be my cup of tea, but I'm gonna at least try it eventually. Yeah. I bought Super Smash Brothers. I bought Mario Party. I bought Mario Kart. I bought the Mario Kart, whatever that Mario Maker game is. Like I play their games. I just don't play the ports because I have access to better versions of the port.
I feel like no. Listen, we teasing you. We know where you're coming from. I'll jump in right quick. And look, I hear you. I thought the Direct was fantastic. Very strong. A lot of titles that's going to still show support. Animal Crossing, that you mentioned, they're even going to get DLC. They're going to get content.
That game's going to do numbers.
It's already killing Japan.
It's already killing
in UK. and I think it's the perfect game for the climate right now.
I think that might outsell everything this year.
Yeah, it's looking monstrous right now. So
I think it's going to outsell Last of Us, Final Fantasy, all that.
I don't know. I think Cyberpunk is gonna punch it in the face.
I don't think nothing's touching that.
Like that Animal
I
Crossing,
don't
especially
think
right
nothing's
now.
touching that.
Let me tell you
I'm
something.
willing to do a bend the knee.
we about to bring
over
Bend the
this.
knee for this?
So time out. I'll do better knee with you if this is one caveat.
Bend the knee has returned.
This is one caveat. This is one caveat,
go.
and I'm gonna say this, and I'm gonna hold true to this.
Let's go.
I do believe that game launches right separately without my caveat.
Okay.
But I believe when that Series X launches, that game comes to Game Pass. And that's when you're getting smashed in the mouth. And that's listen, if this happens, right? If this happens, I will bend the knee on camera. To you,
So wait,
right?
let's put the terms of the bend the knee. Let's be very specific.
Listen.
Are we talking Animal Crossing?
Listen.
versus...
Animal Crossing, and he said Animal Crossing is going to be the highest selling game for the year. All right,
Okay.
cool. All right, I'm down with that. It got months of head start. Months.
Right. Okay.
Months.
All right, let me rephrase that. I'm referring to, because obviously Call of Duty and stuff's going to beat it.
I'm not worrying about Call of Duty.
I'm referring to stuff like Last of Us exclusive wise.
Yeah, let's exclude Call of Duty.
And we'll put
No, I'm just putting.
What's the bend the knee?
I'm putting Cyberpunk against your joint, right? Against Animal Crossing, and I'm saying this right because I already know there's billions of pre-orders, right?
King, I don't know.
Listen.
I don't know.
Listen to me. Listen. This is my caveat.
Yes.
If that game, when that Series X launches, and that game is in Game Pass, because it was on a Summer Jam screen, I'm telling you guys,
So
I already
you needed to be in Game Pass. Is the caveat?
if it launches in Game Pass when that
I
X
feel like that
comes
hurts
out,
I think that hurt you, fam.
no, it don't hurt me. It don't hurt me because you're gonna start seeing engagement numbers.
Okay.
It doesn't hurt me because once somebody plays in
No,
Game
we
Pass,
going by
9 times out of 10,
MPDs.
they're gonna buy because I brought children to mortar. All right, and I understand purchasing will be affected because statistics has been shown that people that try stuff in Game Pass wind up purchasing this said game. All right, so there is a higher percentage of these games being purchased, and I will bend my knee on that. So if it comes in if it comes in Game Pass, it has been engaged, brother.
Okay, so let me
by
ask
the
you
end of the year, we're gonna
Let's just
total
end
up.
this
let me
I
ask
don't
you
even
this.
know what's going on anymore.
It's Animal
like-
Crossing versus Cyberpunk. But my question
That's
to
it.
King is though, if Cyberpunk is not in Game Pass, there is
Oh,
no
then
bet.
there's no.
Okay, so the caveat is Game Pass. Okay,
Yes,
so
sir. Yes,
Addict, do you agree? We're doing bend the knee, we're bringing it back. This is our first one in 2020. Do you agree on these terms?
Look,
Bend the knee on camera. If Animal Crossing loses the year sales to to Cyberpunk, are we doing this?
But he's arguing Game Pass and I'm arguing sales, so it's confusing.
No.
It's still sales.
It's
But
still
his
sales.
caveat is that it has to be in Game Pass. Cyberpunk has to be in Game Pass.
So which one outsells which one at the end of the year?
Let's go.
Yeah, that's
Okay,
it.
I'll
That's
bend
it
the
because
knee
Oh,
on
it's
that. I'll
official. The
bend the knee
first
on that.
bend the knee. Well, Bill Stillwell is witness. This.
Yeah, I am.
Because all I know is I've been told we look at 6-7 million already. on Animal Crossing,
you know
okay?
that's nice. I think that we do that in pre-orders ready.
He do got multi-plat too though.
Yeah,
Listen. Do me a favor, Bill. Shout out to Phil Dominus, man.
If there's anything I've
Tell
seen,
him my
if there's
knees is on the line.
Tell Phil
And I
these.
need-
if there's
and I need
anything
him to-
I've seen,
I need him to do that salt that he do to put that aside Game Pass.
if there's anything that I've seen, is I'm not questioning first-party Nintendo stuff anymore because apparently it sells like gold.
Oh
Yes,
man,
I
yo.
feel
I mean, they sold almost 2 million copies in 3 days in Japan.
This is coming in hot, King. You sure?
Yo, listen, Bill. I'm not afraid. You understand? I'm not afraid.
I know.
King, I'm worried about your knees.
Listen, I'm not.
You
Because
can't
you know
let
what?
Addict do this to
See?
you on Animal Crossing.
So listen. You know why you saying that you're afraid for my knees?
We haven't had one since the Spider-Man
Spider-Man
thing.
Listen, because in your heart,
I had to take a little bit to recover from that, man. I had to take a little bit to recover from that.
Don't go.
Everybody feels that it's coming in Game Pass, and I think that's an announcement. I switch. I can smell it.
You can smell it. That's the game.
Smell it.
Okay.
I mean, the thing about that is it would be 2 months removed from launch of the game.
They got such a head start.
That's crazy.
Yes, it is.
I mean,
It's a
I want it.
boost. It's a boost. It's a boost.
I'm pulling for you, but I don't know.
I say by the end of the year, Animal Crossing is going to be anywhere from 17 to 25 million.
Jeez.
And
Wow.
I say when Cyberpunk launches, it's gonna make those 2 to 3 million 3 days look like.
It's gonna be breathtaking. It's gonna be breathtaking.
Lord Bill,
Oh, you gotta-
and your personal opinion from what you see, who you think's winning this?
So I have never played an Animal Crossing game.
It don't matter.
I'm not even playing this one.
Mm-hmm.
But both my kids are. And
Yeah.
here's what I would say.
Question.
It broke
Did you buy an
Nintendo's sales
individual
record.
one for both of your kids?
Hold on.
Mhm.
It broke Nintendo sales records, and it's not a Zelda title, and it's not a Mario
Mm.
title,
Yep.
and it's not a Pokemon title, and it still broke Nintendo sales records. While everybody's stuck at home with nothing else to do.
Dude.
Boy, look, I appreciate the bravery.
Yo, Bill, check this out. And this is what I'm gonna say. Right now, when people is being frugal with their bucks because of what's going on, hopefully by the time Cyberpunk is launched, we are getting back to normal. So people will have their little.
Will that
bucks
hurt
there.
you though? If people are
No,
going
it
out?
won't, because the economy will start to come back and people want to get to normalcy, and that will probably be the normal game that everybody. Do you understand? Everybody want to touch that game.
First
Do you know
thing,
how
let me
many
clear-
people don't want to touch
I
Animal
gotta get
Crossing?
this super chat. It's funny. I'm going up the crest.
Yeah, the suicide mission. I saw it already.
$5. He said, "King, don't be a part of that suicide mission. People braving the apocalypse to play Animal Crossing." He said, "I hate to see you bend the knee to Animal
No,
Crossing."
you know what it is? All of you guys know the power of Phil, and you know that there's a high possibility
You know what
that joint is inside Game
You know what the
Pass.
funny thing is? This really should have no connection to Xbox, but somehow you've done this.
I love how you connect it.
No, you know what? You know what? A lot of things shouldn't have a connection to Xbox. But I'm gonna tell you right now, that Summer Jam screen has been shown. He took a time out to do something that he don't normally do. He did theatrics for it.
Okay, listen.
I'm telling you, there's something in the tea. And I'm telling you, this dude has not let me down yet.
I love Cyberpunk. I want it to win.
Yeah, you
Like,
know what I
anticipated
low
game.
key want?
Yeah.
I want like a big enough one of those rotating things that King be putting his statues on. I want my knee on that.
Listen,
You want to
you know what? You know what it is? Everybody knows that I haven't been wrong with this Game Pass stuff. So I'm glad that I have sprinkled that on y'all. All right. So I'm glad that y'all got the sprinkle sauce on you. But now that y'all say y'all buying into my craziness right now, right? That a game that's such a huge magnitude will be months removed and set into Game Pass. That's the power of Game Pass. I see it working. I'm telling you.
So before we move on, chat, we're gonna ask you. Put a 1 if you think Addict's been in there. You put a 2 if you think King. Lord King is winning the.
You know what's funny? Let me tell you something. Let me say one more thing about that whole thing, right?
Yeah.
Didn't Phil Dominus Maximus Spencer say
What?
when you purchase Cyberpunk one time
That you gonna get it on the Series X? Yes.
that the Series X joint
Yes.
will be the scaled up version of it?
Yes. So
Why
we
would
saying
he
that this is
single out?
influencing hardware sales? Or is
Why
what we
would
doing
he
here?
single out that one game?
Yo, your
The
third eye's
same
open,
game
brother.
he did the theatrics with.
for real.
His third eye is open right now.
I'm gonna tell you right now. I'm telling you. I'm smelling something. And if it hits Game Pass, you're mine. I'm telling telling you.
Listen,
I'm
the chat is
telling you.
divided, man. I'm seeing ones. What was the one for? Was the one for?
And one was me, two was King.
2 is king. I'm seeing 2. Albazik put 3. It's for the kids. I don't know what
if
that
it
means.
hit that game
Look,
pass,
Phantom, just
you
because you
might
put it
as
multiple
well-
times don't mean you're gonna win.
Listen, let me tell you. You know why I'm telling you you're in trouble?
Mm-hmm.
It's gonna be on PlayStation 4. It's
Mm.
gonna be on Xbox One.
Mm.
It's gonna be on Series X.
Mm.
It's gonna
It is
be on
multi-platform.
5. If it get that boost
Mhm.
from that Game Pass, you're done, son.
Oh, Rage Virus is with you, King. You got the
I'm gonna
number
put
2.
you in that
Rage.
box. I'm gonna put a special box for your knees. You know what? I'm gonna put a bow on that box.
I'm
I'm
done.
gonna tell you right now.
Movie
That's
going.
my
Y'all
crowning
savage.
achievement box.
Y'all
Because you know what it
savage.
was? I predicted it so far out. Because that means that me and this man is simpatico. And I'm
Rage,
telling you,
I'm pulling for you, but I don't know,
Rage
bro.
Virus is saying you gonna bend the knee, King. How you feel about
We
that?
gonna
well,
see.
Rage Virus can put his knees in a box with you.
Moving along, I'll just finish up because we gotta go. The show's going on
Let's
too
end
long.
up, yeah.
Listen, man, yeah, I enjoyed it. You know, Marvel Lives was great. We see the DLC. Shout out to 2K Games supporting a lot of the Switch Shock and all that stuff. Huge titles. Of course, I'm XCon guy. I'd like to see it there. Yeah, man, it was good. It's just what Nintendo does, and I'm very curious to see moving forward with Microsoft and Sony. Being that you're in the climate that we're in, if we get these style of presentations now moving forward, because obviously we know the E3 thing and that's it. But we got to get out of here, so we got to get the poll and then get out of here. So new ILP poll with the initial announcements of Project xCloud, Xbox Backwards Compatibility, and Game Pass Ultimate being staples moving forward with the next generation Series X. Which of these features do you think is the most important for the success of the Xbox in the next generation? The choices are A, Project xCloud will hit markets traditional Xbox consoles would never be able to reach prior. Bill was in my mind when I wrote this question before. That's so crazy that he literally said that. Go option B, Xbox Back Compat, critical to keeping generations of the Xbox ecosystem unified and moving forward. Or C, Game Pass is the best deal in gaming, plus Xbox exclusives day and date. And our final chance, four choices, D, I don't care. Y'all fronting on VR and AR with that HoloLens, though. Had to add that for Bill. Those are the choices. Please rock the ILP vote when it goes up on Twitter. Lord Bill Stillwell of the Cognition team and HoloLens and AR VR. An absolute pleasure to have you back in the realm. Where can the fine people find you? What you have going on, sir?
The easiest way to find me, and first off, it's been great to be back too. We went far too long this time in between.
Yes.
Life moves fast when you're busy, I guess.
Yeah,
but you can find me at WC Stillwell because I'm officially William Charles Stillwell III. On Twitter, and that's the best place to stay in touch with what I'm working on, what I'm doing. And other than that, keep looking out for news.
Absolute pleasure, man. It's always good to have you back in the realm. Keep continuing on with your journey. It's so cool to see your growth, to see your development, to see you take on these new projects, and it's cool to see Microsoft retain quality talent. You know what I'm saying? Good
Thank
dude,
you.
true gamer. Can't wait to see the next things you guys got cooking up. Iron Lord salute to the Great Wall himself, Lord Bill Stillwell.
Thanks,
My
man.
man,
Appreciate
man.
it.
Absolute pleasure to have you back in the realm, man. Lord Addict in the realm, being extra feisty, bringing back Brendan's knee and all this good stuff. Where can the fine people find you? What you got going on, sir?
Well, I mean, you can find me in about November, December, collecting King's Knee. You can find me on Twitter at Lord Addict ILP. You can find me on YouTube at Gaming Addict. I might start streaming here soon. I don't know yet. I got some stuff I have to get through. But I definitely want to thank everyone for coming out. I want to thank Lord Bill Stillwell for coming out. It was definitely a pleasure having the conversation. Sorry I was late. I know everyone in the chat was attacking me. Your dude overslept. Yeah, I can't help it. LordCognito, do I rarely oversleep?
Yes, this was the first for you. I was very surprised. Normally you.
I think out of the whole year. No, I did one other time. But I definitely want to appreciate it. We'll see you next week. Well, I might not. I don't know.
We'll see. Lord Sovereign in the realm, talking that talk, breaking the tech down, the single player exclusive Lord. Where can the fine people find you? What you got going on, sir?
First off, big shout out to Lord Stillwell for coming through. Finally, the rest of the Lords got a chance to meet Lord Stillwell before. I finally got a chance to meet him at last E3. Fantastic individual, and just absolutely like to see the joy on his face when we finally got to play xCloud.
Oh, yeah.
And I remember my reaction, because I remember Cog was playing and Halo. And I looked at it, and as soon as I just saw the speed of what was going on that little phone, I said, "Oh no!" I said, "Oh no!" Like I looked at him, and he was just smiling at me, like,
He had that face, like,
and he had that face, like,
Yeah.
Gotcha, right? Gotcha. Fantastic. So, absolutely a pleasure to have you on the show again. And yeah, you guys can find me on BX Sovereign on PSN and Xbox Live, and of course, Lord Sob IOP on Twitter.
Yes, absolute pleasure. Lord King again in the realm, bringing the fights. This bend the knee has returned for 20.
Have you ever noticed, King, me, you the only one that does bend the knee? What's going on here?
You know what it is, Addict?
Yes.
We willing, but Sovereign Knees is on the line, brother. Don't
Why
forget.
are my knees on? I already own a pair of your knees. Would you like them back at some point?
Sovereign.
Would you like one of your knees back?
I can honestly tell you this. With all the information that has been swelling around your knees.
Let me tell Lord Stillwell the bet that you made.
Oh, Lord.
So, Lord Stillwell, Lord King.
Check this out.
This is to show you.
Listen, Bill is going to laugh right now.
The risk taker. How much of a risk taker Lord King is. He bet that PlayStation would not have any backwards compatibility after they announced that they would have.
Wait.
No, but he did say.
See, this, no, time out. I told you this. I told you if they have back compat, you gonna pay for it. You gonna swipe your card on the side of the box.
That was the caveat. That was the caveat after the fact.
Listen,
the initial bet was they're lying.
They're not doing
No,
it.
but he did. But Solve, he
lying.
did say he think that if they have it, they're gonna charge.
I remember if I remember correctly, the bet was if they're gonna charge you or not.
They're gonna charge you. That was the bet.
The initial bet when he brought it up. And I said, "You sure you want to do this, King?" I told him, I said, "King, they announced it."
We might have to go back and look.
We might have to
We got to go back to
But
yo. We missed the bill though. We missed the bill. Shout out to Shroom King, the $2 super chat. The Aya Husaka, I can't even pronounce that. T is strong. Opened up King's third eye. He said your third eye opened.
That's the tea that they have when they pass out inside that game. Yo, listen, I told you. Listen, man, it's wizardry what we saw when we saw back compat. I'm telling you, it's wizardry. It's not easy.
Right.
And I know for a fact they've been doing a lot of unstable things. And
if you think about
that variable clock,
if
man.
you think about it, if you think about it, like Lord King could lose both his knees this year.
Yeah, listen, addict. That's letting you know that.
But it's okay because I'm just getting my knee back from you. So you know.
Okay. Well, anyway, back to me. That y'all want to jump all into my stuff.
Outro, sir.
Yeah. Listen, I was thinking about doing this week. Y'all pick a statue, right? Because I got a oh boy, I got a ton I got to do. But I can say this, right? The next statue, and I'm being selfish about it because I don't care about y'all. I'm just joking. But it's one statue that I have to do because there's a huge story that goes with it. And every time I want to do something, I got a gladiator hawk that's back there. It's the size of that juggernaut that I have. Right? It's a huge statue. But I have to get this statue out because it represents me and my grandmother. And my grandmother passed away. So and I know you're trying to figure out, like, how does a statue represent your grandmother? When I tell you the story, you're gonna see. Wow, it's a lot of stuff that goes.
It's the next KOS, or are we coming down around?
It's the next KOS.
Oh, okay.
All right. You can find me at King David OTW on Twitter. You can find me at KOS. We're not doing no combat talk with the King right now because of what's going on, and I don't do speculation. My combat talk is not speculation talk and all that other stuff. Even though Tyson Fury looks like he's going to jail.
Oh Lord, continue.
Yeah, for
shout out to John Jones. Shout
out. John Jones, follow him.
Yeah, shout out to finding a way to get in trouble when you can't technically get in trouble. Salute to that.
And the sad part is he literally just got back on track.
Oh my God, let's not even get into it. That's another story for hours.
The greatest, one of the greatest MMA fighters to just throw stuff away.
Yeah, facts.
Stupidity. But I want to give a shout out to Bill, Lord Bill Stillwell, the Great Wall of Bill.
Great Wall.
When we go to these events, right, we're really like we go from place to place. We very rarely go out to see any form of LA. When we initially get there, we see the Cali team, go to their house or whatever, see them, meet up. But we really at the compound to convention center. Compound to the convention center.
Yeah, we really don't have time, to be honest with you.
Yeah, from work to work. And shout out to Lord Bill for actually allowing me to get the invite to see some form of Cali, to go to a historic place. And I appreciate you for that.
No doubt.
Because that's not something that you had to do. That's something that you wanted to do. And you're a genuine person.
Facts.
And I truly appreciate you with all the stuff that you have done. And even, when we was fledgling, just coming about, you saw something in us, and I appreciate that. Like you took the time out to wait for us for the xCloud stuff.
Facts.
And people don't understand you are a real dude.
Facts.
And the fact that real people are working at a company that I love, and I know you by name, and I've sat with you, we've broken bread. Little things that you take in this life, I've taken that, and I appreciate you for that. Thank you, sir, and thank you for coming back on.
Yeah, definitely.
No, thank you guys.
Absolutely.
And I'll add to that. I don't want to end on a sad note, but a good friend of mine who I've coached with in hockey for years. We work together at Microsoft. Our kids go to school together. Earlier this month, he had a stroke and brain aneurysm. He passed beginning of last week.
Sorry.
And we've all been there with that moment where you say to yourself, I missed an opportunity to tell him how much he meant to me. And so one of the things I try to do, I love what you guys do for the community. I love that we're part of a bigger thing than any one product or any one game or any of that kind of stuff. You getting out in front of the public, you speaking your mind, you showing what you care about. I think we need more and more of that. And I've been reflecting, especially over the last week, like you got to stay in touch with the people who matter in your life because they're not always going to be there.
Facts.
And even if it's just a casual encounter, you don't know how much that casual encounter can lead to down the road. Yes. Look at us. Like we didn't know each other at all. We just happened to go, we just happened to cross paths at one point because we shared a passion for one thing.
Yes.
Yeah.
And it's turned into this, and it's turned into like what you guys have done, what the community's done. Take the time out, especially as we're in quarantine, to tell the people exactly what, like, it means a ton that you'd say that to me, King.
Absolutely.
Like, it means a lot to hear other people appreciate what you put in the community. Take the time to tell somebody this week that maybe you haven't talked to in a while, or maybe you haven't ever told them how much they mean to you. You mean something to me, and let them know. Because you never know when they're going to be gone.
No, it's well said, and I'll jump in too, because one of the things that I appreciate that you do on Twitter is that kind of appreciation thread thing that you do, and it's kind of like a weekly thing, and you say, hey, I want to give a shout out to this content creator or this person, and again, it's like that expression, you want to give people the roses when they can smell them, and that is amazing. And again, we really appreciate what you do for the community. Again, believing in us as well in a fledgling state, like King said. It's just tremendous to see your growth and everything that's going on, especially in this climate. We need that kind of stuff. So Iron Lord salute, bend the knee, obviously, what I'm saying, to you, Lord Bill, and in the community. It's been really cool, and always a pleasure to have you in the realm, sir. It's always a good time. Always get to talk games. So yeah, man, that's all I got. Like I said, please check LordsOfGaming.net. We got some fantastic articles up right now. We got the HP VR stuff. We got obviously Lord Bill Stillwell's announcement. If you want to learn more about that, please go to LordsOfGaming.net. You know what I'm saying? And of course, the Final Fantasy VII thing. Please, everybody, enjoy your Sunday. Thanks for hanging out with us. Really cool. That's all I got. If anybody got anything else, we are out of here. And, you can get some cool outro on the way out. Everybody, man, enjoy your Sunday. Peace.